and it was hot. It was so hot. It was like 95, 100 degrees in the shade. The wind never blew.
And they say that New Orleans has humidity down there, which kind of cools us off. That's bullshit. It was death heat.
Inside the convention center was so stifling hot, people tried to stay outside.
Hot as hell, 100-something degrees.
It's hot.
It was very, very hot at that time. It was 97, 98 degrees.
It was hot.
The heat radiating off of the highway at night was intensely hot.
It's hot as hell.
That was the worst summer. I mean, that heat was ridiculous.
Man, hot as heck in here.
It was beyond Africa heat. If Africa heat was anything like that, like I said before, and I'll say it again, they keep saying go back to Africa. Hell no.
This is a Storm Track 8 weather alert.
And we start tonight at 5 o'clock with a heat advisory across central Indiana. Brace yourselves, near triple-digit temperatures are on the way. Good evening, everyone. I'm Phil Sanchez.
And I'm Derek Dennis. Let's get right over to Storm Track 8 Chief Meteorologist Keith Gibson. He's here with the forecast. Keith, this heat is dangerous.
It is, and some of us already have those triple-digit heat indices. I think they will be statewide tomorrow. So let's just get all prepared. Again, we have another heat wave developing around here. This is the current heat index, 95 right now in Indy, 109 in Terre Haute, 100 in Evansville, 104 in Chicago, and this will be expanding east as we go throughout the next 24 hours. We'll ease a little bit tonight, and then we're back into the thick of things tomorrow. So this is your forecast heat index at 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, widespread triple digits. One thing that could save us tomorrow is a small chance for a pop-up shower or storm, but most spots will not have it. Tomorrow, your Thursday, the hottest day of the week, again, triple digits for your heat index, and there may be a stray shower or storm, but it's just going to be hot and humid everywhere. A little bit hazy out there right now. We are near 90 degrees here in downtown Indianapolis, and for this evening, if you're heading out, pretty quiet weather, just hot and humid. Back into the mid to low 80s by late evening, so this is going to be a warm night ahead. And these are the current numbers, upper 80s, low 90s across the entire state. And one thing that has changed is higher humidity, and dew points well into the 70s. Terre Haute, though, up to 80. This is just downright tropical air. We also have a lot of corn sweat going on across the region, adding some extra moisture to the atmosphere. And one thing to also mention, an air quality alert continues through midnight. We've had some marginal air quality today. We have storm chances coming up later this week. More on that and more on the heat in just a few minutes.
All right, Keith, we'll check back in a few. Work crews already are adjusting their schedules to get around this heat.
Yeah, News 8's Garrett Berquist is live to tell us how they're coping with these sweltering conditions. Garrett.
Some heavy work is inevitable, such as emergency street repairs. Officials told me they're going to try to keep everything else, such as road construction like you see here, to a minimum.
Postal workers follow their routes no matter the weather. These mail carriers got safety reminders Wednesday morning.
Hydration doesn't start just today. Hydration had to start at least a few days ago. If not, it's a daily event. Here in this station, as you can see, we provided fruits, and we do have cold water and Gatorade in the refrigerators, and we also have a water fountain for the carriers to fill up, and we purchased a new water fountain so they can have their own water bottles to fill up.
Dallas says her carriers will get regular reminders to hydrate throughout the day. Empty work sites like this will be a common sight over the next few afternoons. Department of Public Works officials say their crews will go home early to beat the heat. That means postponing pothole repairs or mowing, for example. They'll still do emergency work when needed. INDOT officials say they encourage their contractors to start early for the same reason.
One of the easiest things that we can do to keep them safe is adjust our working hours for those that are working out in the heat. So adjusting to earlier start times so we can get the majority of the workday in before we get to those peak temperatures.
If you have to work in the heat, doctors say start hydrating before you work. Wear loose-fitting, light clothing. And don't assume you can work at your usual pace.
The same job that you may do when the temperature's not, as bad, might take kind of a heavier toll on you, so to speak, when you're working out in that heat. So I think just kind of expect to go at a little slower pace, and that kind of might pay dividends for you in terms of kind of avoiding heat exhaustion.
Trustee says take frequent breaks and drink a combination of water and drinks with electrolytes in them, such as sports drinks. Live downtown, I'm Garrett Bergquist for WISH TV and WishTV.com.
All right, Gary, thank you very much. Well, we want to help you stay cool and safe during these hot and humid conditions. Just grab your phone, scan the QR code on your screen right now. That will take you to the As Seen On section of our website, wishtv.com, where you can find links to cooling centers and other tips to help you beat the heat.
Unemployment among recent college grads is now rising faster than for young adults with high school or associate degrees, according to a Burning Glass Institute analysis of labor data. That's just one indication of how the job market for young professionals is starting to become completely upended by AI. WSJ reporter Lindsay Ellis joins us to discuss what these trends mean for new job seekers and what some professionals suggest entry-level workers do to stay ahead of the new AI curve. Lindsay, let's talk about the big trend behind your story, which is that some companies are declining to hire entry-level workers. Why is this happening?
There's been a lot of economic uncertainty, from geopolitical conflict to the trade war to the election. And as AI technology has advanced, a lot of companies are saying, before we make a hire, let's see if we can get some of this work done with these generative AI tools. And they've found that the tasks that these tools are most capable of doing are the tasks that companies have long leaned on entry-level workers to complete.
And one of the things you write in your story is that this trend kind of heralds a fundamental realignment in how the workforce is structured. What does that mean?
There's long been an agreement of sorts between companies and new graduates. These employees are young and ambitious, and they're willing to work hard and earn less than more seasoned corporate veterans would command. And so in exchange, they get training, they get experience, and that offers them a foothold in the job market. But what we've found here is companies that have slowed hiring of this cohort are still being quite productive and generating a lot of economic activity. And so they haven't seen an immediate downside to refraining from hiring a lot of these new graduates.
Let's talk about specifically some of the sectors in which graduate hiring has slowed the most.
Some of the sectors that we've been pointed to are information, tech jobs, finance, insurance, technical services. For example, Grindr's CEO said that they would rather hire more seasoned engineers instead of junior coders straight out of school. One recruiting firm told me that typically they would have high volume demand from marketing agencies to hire entry-level staff. That work has totally vanished. One company I talked to, the CEO basically said, typically we bring on a summer intern. For years and years, we've done that, especially for social media. This year, instead of coaching a summer intern, I'm just going to talk into ChatGPT and it's going to clean up the copy and those posts will be ready for airtime.
As we talk about AI technology improving, can it really do what recent college grads are doing? And what about its tendency to hallucinate or make mistakes?
That's a great question, and it's something that a lot of companies are grappling with. So one company, for example, Carlyle, in the past, entry-level hires, if they were evaluating a deal, it's an investment firm, they would turn to Google and look for articles there, kind of request documents from companies, look at that information manually, copy and paste information from one document to the next. Now, a lot of that work is being done by AI, but they are still hiring junior analysts to make sure that information is accurate, that the analysis is accurate. One hiring lead told me recently that the skill that is most important for junior hires is a healthy dose of skepticism, because you have to constantly challenge the information that AI is spitting out. So needing to question it and poke holes in an argument is a new skill that is emerging for entry-level talent and potentially talent writ large.
What should entry-level workers do in this age of AI? What did your sources recommend?
Something that some of my sources are telling me who are in this phase of life, they'd say that client-facing roles are where they are hoping to lean into at this stage. One woman I talked to was working in payroll, and now she's looking for a more client-facing job, thinking that if I'm in a business back-end role, I have a higher liability of getting laid off or my job being automated. And the relationships are something that people can't really replicate with AI at this stage. So a lot of young professionals who I'm talking to are trying to find jobs that have a lesser chance of being taken over by artificial intelligence. And I'm curious myself to see where that goes from here.
That was WSJ reporter Lindsay Ellis.
The Justice Department fired more than 200 people this year. Many others have been forced out of their jobs for reasons that seem political. Those departures are transforming the workforce. Here's NPR's Carrie Johnson.
On a recent afternoon near Washington, Erez Ruveni opens a big box on the table and reflects on his career at the Justice Department.
There's a box of my various awards.
Ruveni spent nearly 15 years as an immigration lawyer at the DOJ, winning big cases in President Trump's first term in office.
Special commendation presented to Erez Ruveni for outstanding service in the Civil Division of the U.S. Department of Justice, protecting the nation from foreign terrorist entry executive order litigation team. This is the travel ban.
He even got promoted this year to oversee about 100 lawyers working on immigration, the top priority for the Trump administration. But 3 weeks later, Ruveni was fired after telling a judge a migrant had been deported by mistake. Ruveni says the White House wanted to know why he didn't call that migrant a terrorist.
The president can lie publicly if he chooses to or she chooses to. I can't do that. Career attorneys can't do that, but we are still expected to go to court and parrot these similar talking points that have no basis in law and have no support.
Ruveni went on to file a whistleblower complaint. He claims a Justice Department official told him and others they might have to blow off court orders and mislead judges in deportation cases.
It is just one of the sacrosanct assumptions of rule of law. A court issues an order, you respect that order, and if you don't like it, you appeal it.
The official who allegedly made that remark, Emil Bovee, has denied telling anyone to disobey court orders. This week, the Senate voted to confirm him as a federal appeals court judge. Ruveni is currently unemployed.
I mean, what happened to me was outrageous, and I felt so strongly about what was happening at DOJ, what had happened to me, what is happening to my colleagues, what really just, in just a matter of weeks, an institution that's been the pillar of defending the rule of law for over a century is just completely torn down.
Max Steyer leads the Partnership for Public Service. It's a nonprofit group that promotes better government and stronger democracy.
What is happening at the Department of Justice is deeply concerning, not just for the lawyers that are there, but for all Americans.
Steyer's also an alumni of DOJ, and he's been watching this year with alarm.
We now have a president and people who work for him who are directing federal employees to do what the president wants, even if that is in conflict with the law or in conflict with our Constitution.
Attorney General Pam Bondi and Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche used to be personal lawyers for President Trump, defending him against charges filed by the Justice Department under the Biden administration. In public remarks this year, they've promised to change course at the DOJ and end what they call weaponization of law enforcement. Here's Bondi at an event this year introducing the president.
We all work for the greatest president in the history of our country. We are so proud to work at the directive of Donald Trump. It is, he will never stop fighting for us, and we will never stop fighting for him and for our country.
On her first day in office, Bondi issued a memo requiring Justice Department lawyers to provide zealous representation of the U.S. government. The memo said any lawyer who declines to sign a brief, appear in court, or otherwise delays DOJ's mission will face discipline, up to and including termination. As many as 4,700 workers may have already left the Justice Department this year, according to budget documents and interviews. That's a combination of firings, forced resignations, and people running for the hills. Entire units, including the Civil Rights Division and the group that defends federal programs, have been hollowed out. Stacey Young runs Justice Connection, a nonprofit that helps DOJ workers find legal and ethics help.
The harm that we're going to feel from these attacks on DOJ, it's going to be felt for years, possibly generations.
Carrie Johnson, NPR News, Washington.
we begin with a conversation on something that we all hope to do one day: retire. Now, my dad is 74. He's still working as a truck driver. He gets up every morning at 5. He heads out to the job site. And it's a job that he enjoys for the most part. It keeps him busy. He's connected with his younger coworkers. He's out of the house. He's not retiring yet so that he can continue to pay the bills with ease. Meanwhile, my mother is 71. She's retired, though co-living in a shared space with a friend has been sort of the only real affordable option for her. Now, this is a universal reality for seniors everywhere, right? That question of, when can I step away from my career, and what is the quality of life going to be like once I do so? So some folks, they might leave, but they also might go back to the workforce. Programs like the Senior Community Service Employment Program in Chicago allow older workers to do just that, right? They're helping them hone their talents, find jobs, and make ends meet. But recent federal funding cuts are wiping away those efforts. Program organizers have had to turn away seniors who want to sign up, send home their current staff, and without that money from the federal government, they say that some of their seniors could even end up homeless. So if you're retired, or you're planning for retirement, or you've got parents like me who are on their retirement journey, this conversation is for you. What's the future of this community assistance program for seniors? How are the new furloughed workers going to cope financially? And what needs to be in place in order for older Chicagoans to thrive? Our guests are going to share their stories and answer those key questions for you. We've got Cheryl Holman, who's CEO of Community Assistance Programs, which houses the Senior Community Service Employment Program. And we've got 3 participants from the Community Assistance, or CAPS program, as they call it, for seniors. We've got Patricia Johnson, Sandra Robinson, and Sharon Rainey. Welcome to you all.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Great to see you here. I want to get to know each of you, right? Because you've each got different stories here and different reasons that brought you to the program in the first place. So let me start with you, Ms. Robinson. Tell me, when did you start working?
I started working for CAPS in 22.
In 2022?
January of 2022.
And were you close to retirement at the time, or what was it that brought you to the program?
Well, what brought me to the program was that I was in a car accident in September 21 of 2021.
Mm-hmm.
And it got to the point that the funding that I was supposed to be getting from my 401k had exhausted, my funding from my job had exhausted, everything that I could get my hand on had exhausted. So now I'm behind. I'm getting behind in my bills. I got to find something that could help me at least overcome this dilemma that I'm in. You know, they wasn't trying to help me or anything. So somebody a friend of mine came up and said, well, why don't you come to CAPS? And that's how I got to CAPS.
That was your way in.
But I was telling you, CAPS is the most beautiful place to work at for a senior. I mean, it helps us make ends meet. It helps us to meet new people that's on the same level as you are. It helps you to get job skills that you never even knew anything about.
Yeah, all the things that you thought might have been over at this age, right? This program sort of revives it.
It's never been a program like this before, and I think it's just wonderful to help the seniors out, because a lot of seniors can't get back in the workforce because of their age.
Yeah.
You know, and it's not all the time about the money. It's also to share with these youths what they can do. If a person that's 50, 55, 60, 65, and 70 can work, I'm sure a person 18, 19, 20, 21 can work. They don't have to be out here robbing, stealing, shooting, or hurting anybody, or either carjacking. All they have to do is follow the lead of the elders, because we the one paved the way, right?
Absolutely. Let me get some more stories, and then we'll dig more into this, because there's a lot, as you heard me mention, a lot going on here, lots to unpack.
It is.
Ms. Rainey, let me hear from you. Tell us your story.
I came to CAPS in February of 2023. I had worked for McDonald's for over 30-something years.
Okay.
I got sick with some ailments, and so I couldn't work anymore. And the money I had saved up was going away, and the owner that I worked for, when he sold his business, he didn't give anyone anything. So I was trying to do Uber and Lyft. Not a good deal for seniors, especially females.
I agree.
And so I got an email one day from C.O.W.S. And I used to deal with C.O.W.S on the police staff for the restaurant. So then I opened it up and it said seniors 55 and over program. I immediately called. I was told by one of the front counter receptionists, and she told me that when the next one was. I came. I went through orientation. I went through the 2.5-week process. I came back to get placed out to work at one of the locations, and I was told, can you man the phones for us right now? Sure. That was on a Monday. Tuesday, you coming back Tuesday? Came back Tuesday.
They liked you.
Can you come back Wednesday? I'll be there. So Thursday, my director, Ms. Anderson, said, we're going to put her in this program. She's going to stay here. Happiest thing I could hear.
Just like that.
Okay. And so I've been there. I've learned a lot dealing with other side of life with people. I've been a couple of positions. Now I am an actual staff member for C.O.W.S. I am a case manager now.
Nice.
So
Yeah.
I've had 2 different positions since then. And what I love about C.O.W.S is it gives me something to do. It helps me make up the money that I wasn't making because I'm on disability. And you can only make so much. But C.O.W.S has a thing of wanting you to be able to outdo what you couldn't do, to get over what you couldn't get over. So that helps you get to where you need to be. I love it because it keeps me moving, keeps me active. It's like another family.
Yeah.
My father's 91. He loves that I'm at C.O.W.S. He says, only 2 things that get me out the house is C.O.W.S going to work and church. That's it.
That's it.
So, and,
all right. Well,
it's just beautiful. C.O.W.S does a lot for people.
Miss Robinson, or Miss Johnson, rather, you went back to work. Tell me why.
First of all, I growed up from the projects. Okay, so I went back to work. I was working. I have a strong working ethics. Also will have a college degree, graduate without. I was working at a company that lost their funding. I worked there 10 years. So I walked out with no retirement money. But I had worked previously on jobs. So what I thought about, I made a decision that I was going to retire. Okay, so I took some time off or what have you. In the meantime, I did work another job, but
And this was as a social worker in the mental health
social
field.
worker, yes. I made a decision on one job that I was ready to retire. So at that point, I started working for a year. So what I did, my money that I had for my retirement, I pulled it. I had to live off of it. So I found myself within 2 years, I need to go back to work because I had spent all of my money trying to live at the same lifestyle I had got conditioned to when I was working.
So the money only stretched for about a 2-year period before you decided, I've got to go back into the workforce.
Now, in the meantime, I went online and I saw C.O.W.S. So I made a decision I was going to C.O.W.S. and I called, scheduled an appointment, went in, but to make it short, I got into the C.O.W.S. program in 23, August of 23. They put you through a training program for 30 days. After the training program, I was sent out to a place, I was hired.
Yeah.
Okay. In the meantime, I was hired by Casa Esperanza, which is a transitional housing program. Okay. When we lost our funding, my director called us in. It was 3 of us. She hired 2 of us. Okay. So at this time, I do have a job. But the bottom line is I would never forget C.O.W.S. and I would do what I provide them with support because the time when I was really in need, C.O.W.S. was there.
Yeah. And Cheryl, this is a good time to bring you in here as our CEO of this program that the ladies are speaking so wonderfully about. There's a real underlying issue here, right? We're hearing different stories of leaving the workforce at retirement age, coming back for various reasons, all sort of connected to the struggle to make ends meet when you're no longer doing that Monday to Friday 9 to 5. Talk more about the obstacles, though, that adults face at this stage, right? When you come back to the labor market as a senior, what's that like?
Well, when you are a senior in our communities, they get an average of $1,000 a month in Social Security. If they're fortunate, they can get subsidized housing, they can get SNAP food stamps, but that still adds up to less than $2,000 a month. Who can live off that? The C.O.W.S program was created to help community organizations. They work at nonprofits, they can work at government agencies, and the training they get is invaluable because nobody else is offering. C.O.W.S is the only senior workforce program that there is. And this story that you're hearing today, there are millions of seniors that are singing the same song.
Yeah.
So we have to come out on advocacy, and we're, coming together because there are other agencies that are doing this because they're trying to zero that money out.
Yeah. Listen, as you said that there are millions of seniors with the same song, the retirement age was raised to 67. According to the National Council on Aging, for almost half of adults over 60 in this country, their average income is below the standard that's needed to just afford the basic necessities.
That is right.
And the numbers are just growing.
Yes.
You're all nodding. So does retirement, the way that we all dream of retirement, does that feel financially out of reach, Ms. Robinson?
Well, in a sense, I think it is because I've worked all my life. I worked all my life, and they're not even giving me a fraction of what I worked for. So I'd be wondering sometimes where the rest of that money going to, when they could double it up and give it to me all up in one lump sum, or y'all can do something where I can do some good with it. I work for it, but I'm not getting no answers on that. So therefore, I have to take what they giving me to live.
Do you feel like you had to compete with younger applicants?
Yes, you do. Unfortunately, you do. The younger applicants, to me, where they want to work, but they don't want to work. It's like they come to work, but they're not going to do the work. Whereas the seniors, they want to work. They want to get out the house. They want to be involved. They want to be active. And then they also need the financial support, and they're more dependable. We are a very dependable group of people. We know what we have to do. We go in and do it. There's no calling off because I woke up late. We're on our way. We're there.
I mean, you've been doing it for a long time. Like
So
just
many
the
years.
idea
So
of
many
getting
years.
up and going to a job.
So many years.
Right? So you're well-oiled machines at that point.
Absolutely.
What's it been like for you, Ms. Johnson? Are you feeling the competition sometimes with younger applicants, or is it?
I feel the competition, but I try to stay open-minded for the simple fact that majority of youth are coming, sometimes it's their first time coming into the workforce. So I try to lead by example. So a lot of times I train them to do different things in my level that I'm on. So you have to stay open-minded for the simple fact that a lot of young people have the computer knowledge skills. So at the same time, I'm going to get skills from them, and they're going to get skills from me. So I try to make it like a win-win situation.
Cheryl, you found out that the program was going to stop being funded, right, earlier this month.
Right.
And that some people would be furloughed. Talk us through what that was like, first of all, and did you get a reason as to why the Department of Labor wasn't going to be funding this anymore?
Well, C.O.W.S is not in the budget for next year. They zeroed out. But
that's an intentional decision.
There you are. And what's sad about it is a lot of legislators don't even know that the program exists, and they don't know what it does. They think it's a work program that they're supposed to quickly go back to work. Well, everybody requires training. So when they furlough, that's what they're calling it. The funds for the program are there. They're not being released until they are told they can be released. And we don't hear the dynamics of that.
Yeah.
We just know that we were told as of July 1, we could not have them working because DOL was not paying. And that is devastating That's like, imagine for a moment if somebody came to you one day, you were working the day before, because we had no notice about it. We got a few days notice, and we have 100 people working. They work for employers to train. That's the method of training that they get after our training. So they work for an employer, they pick up those skills, and the theory is that the employer hires them, and they do. And because of this crisis, we are getting, employers are hiring people, because they don't want to lose these workers.
Yeah.
But we have a waiting list of over 100 people now, and we stopped taking names because we can't tell them what's going to happen. So when you just imagine you had a paycheck this day and next day you don't. You still have rent. You still have to eat. We're back to that era where people ate cat food. They had to medication or food. Which one? That's where we are now. That is where we are. They don't have
People
money.
Were choosing between
that's right,
paying for their meds.
That's right.
And eating cat food for dinner.
That's right.
Or light bill.
Wow.
I was just to follow back on what she said.
Yeah.
I had worked that Wednesday. Then my boss called me that Thursday
to tell you the news.
Yes, and I was devastated for the simple fact that you get accustomed to having so much money coming in.
Talking to the mic for me.
You get accustomed of having so much money coming into your house financially. I was emotionally shocked. I was like, what am I going to do to pay my bills the next 2 weeks? It's devastating.
But you were given a lifeline then, as you explained earlier. So you are still, I just want to be clear, you're still, Ms. Johnson, you're still working.
Right.
Ms. Robinson, not the case for you. Is that right?
It's not the case for me.
You are furloughed.
I was like doing the training to get prepared to get into the workplace, which I believe my boss them was going to hire me. But then this happened, so they just as devastated as I am. They are really devastated because we reliable. We come in, we do the work. We don't complain. We just do what we need to do.
So what's your plan now? What do you do now?
Well, only thing I can just pray to God that we get our program back and that, we'll be able to go back into learning and teaching if we have to, teach a few, learn a few.
I mean, so far,
doing what we need to do.
You've learned some skills so far through CAPS.
Yes, I've learned a lot of skills.
I wonder
CAPS.
if that now makes you marketable for some other positions.
Yes, absolutely.
Right? That would be the hope.
Yeah, but I'm 67 years old. Okay, a lot of jobs is not hiring 67 years old, 70 or 75. But CAPS program made it easy and simple for the seniors where they don't have to just stay home and die, but they can get out there, get back into the workforce, be energetic, feel good about themselves, and help others.
What went through your mind, Ms. Rainey, just seeing what's happened to a lot of your colleagues here, that they were being furloughed?
When I first heard it, we got called and stuff and we were told, and I was like, what are my seniors going to do? Because I was over the program, so I was considering, what are my seniors going to do?
Absolutely.
And once they got out, they started calling. I was reassuring them. I would call, talk to them all the time. Ms. Robinson called me all the time. I would talk to people all the time. And it was really upsetting and disappointing, because not because of CAS, but because someone decided they didn't want to give us something that would help the society of seniors. And it's hard because some of them call me upset. I get calls every day at work. We get calls. Have they heard any word yet? No, we haven't. We're sorry. What I'm going to do. I give them suggestions, things they probably can do in the meanwhile to keep busy. So it's very devastating.
And you don't have all the answers.
No, I don't. Only thing I can do is just give them encouragement and that it's going to come, that's going to change.
You told a producer, Ms. Rainey, that the CAPS program helped some feelings of depression that you experienced.
Yes. It helped. A lot of people say they were shut in, they didn't get out the house. And then I had an issue. I was going through something with my mom and then wasn't able to get a job. And then it's like it woke me up. When I went to the class, I enjoyed it. Then when I stopped working, it changed everything for me. Everything. Because it gave me another purpose to do something to help myself and I'm sorry, just to do things.
Yeah.
And CAPS is very, very important to me, and it's very important to all our seniors. It's very important to my director, the CEO, everyone that is involved in this. And so CAPS is so important to this time and age with the society, with what they're going through, because it's hard out here with pricing of food, pricing of rent, pricing of just clothing. You can't do the things you used to do. Just going to the store sometimes, you have to decide, okay, if I got a little bit of toothpaste left, maybe I can just let's stretch this out to next time. You know, you have to decide the simple things.
Yeah.
Okay, the bread that says it's on sale is 2 or 3 days old. I'm going to get that instead of getting it comes down to that.
Some decision making that not everybody has to make.
And everybody doesn't have the opportunity to make that decision.
Yeah, we were supposed to be joined today by another colleague of yours, Tammy Spivey. She wasn't able to join us last minute, but she had a very similar story. In her case, she was working at a school and was furloughed, right? She was working, CAPS got her ready, job ready for a school. She was furloughed as well earlier this month, and she told our producers how concerned she was about, having to choose now between medication and food, as we've been discussing.
Insulin.
So Cheryl, I mean, what's needed here in order to make it possible for seniors to retire and retire comfortably?
There has to be a safety net. And I think the state should take some responsibility for it, too. There should be money set aside for seniors to do things. There are a lot of senior programs to give activities, but to pay them to work and learn new skills, they don't.
And we should be clear, the state and federal funding is
federal
cut,
funding,
right?
Yes.
We really have to rally. And people that have a senior parents, they know that this is necessary, because the burden's on everybody right now. Everybody's suffering, even people that are younger. And, we have a lot of young kids, and they're feeling it also. So it's not something that's just one group, but the seniors are suffering the most. And how can you fix your face to ask seniors to go back to work? They worked all their lives. Now they have to go back just to eat. This is America.
Ms. Johnson?
I think that it's important for the mayor, also for the governor, to consider seniors. When it comes to election time, last year, CAPS gave a job fair at Kennedy King College. While we were there, we were able to vote. That's very important. The contributions seniors have made to society. And it's not like they're giving us something back. It's something that majority of seniors have worked, made a contribution to society, and they deserve to be treated fairly.
You feel like seniors are an afterthought?
Yes.
If I understand you correctly.
Yes.
Ms. Rainey, I got to go back to you because you are so emotional here at the table. What, talk me through it. What's going on?
It's just hard to see the people that I work with. They call me and have issues going on, and I try to talk to them about it, and they talk to the other people at the job, and they talk to them. And I'm 67. I'll be 67. So it's very hard to see that my parents worked all their lives. So when it was time for them to retire, they was able to retire. Now it's my time to retire, and I can't even retire without having to think about different things. So it's if I need something done here, I got to wait, see how I can get it done on this side.
Yeah.
And it's very hard to see Miss Spivey didn't come today, but she has to decide between eating and taking medication.
Yeah. That's
tough. and that's hard.
That's
just
tough.
thinking about it.
And my heart hurts for Miss Robinson right now, right? Because you're waiting for just the possibility of the White House turning a corner.
And they should consider, because we paved the way for a lot of this stuff that's going on right now. They just don't see it. They're not recognizing it, because we matter. Senior matters too. So we done paved the way, but now we want to get back to where we belong, where we can do what we do to live.
Yeah.
Not stay at home, not getting out in no yard, not getting in no garden, but out there back into the workplace.
Your livelihood.
Where we can get back feel good about ourselves, and be able to spend money on, like she said, either your medication or your food, but maybe
How about
CAPS
you buy
help
them
you to
both?
get both of them.
Yes,
Exactly. They help you to get both of them.
Yeah. So Cheryl, leave us with this. What is next for the program, as far as you know right now?
As far as we know,
There's so much up in the air, right?
Yeah, the education is the most important thing, is to make sure that both sides of the aisle understand the C.O.W.S program and how valuable it is and necessary it is for our seniors in this day and time. We need more workers. There'll be more seniors than there will be anybody else. And how are you going to run this country? Think about it. They have to have more of a safety net.
Yeah, we'll leave it there for now. That's Cheryl Holman, who's a CEO of the Community Assistance Program, and 3 participants from the Senior Community Service Employment Program. We had Patricia Johnson, Sandra Robinson, and Sharon Rainey. Thank you all so much.
You're welcome.
Welcome.
I thought they already explained what you do if you have an aging population and you don't have enough actual human bodies to carry out tasks, drive the car, sweep the driveway, pick the corn. You get the bots. They told you in the report. Or the earlier report said we don't hire no interns. We just get the Chat GPT to do it. That's what you do. That's why they got all those Waymos. We had a C.O.W.S listener who said that, hey, white genetic annihilation, one response, you just get a whole lot of bots. So now instead of a taxi, you get the Waymo, all these, self-driving vehicles and all the rest of it. Hey, I don't need no driving Miss Daisy. Remember Hope? We miss you, Morgan Freeman. I don't need all that. Now I got the Waymo. I don't have to deal with no count niggers, and they got the Mad Dog 2020 stashed in the glove box and all that, drive us all through. I don't even tell you the truth. I don't like looking at no nigger back of his skull. Got the cornrows zigzag. I don't like looking at all that, Anyway, can I say, did you hear the full talk we heard at the end of that segment? Talking about retirement, and that was all black people. That was WBEZ Chicago Public Radio, Roy Ayers, Chicago Public Radio. But they got a photograph that was all black people. They had the audacity to say, I would like a little dignity in my senior years. Maybe I can pay for my medication and my groceries. What kind of fool talk is that? What kind of greedy niggers do you all have in the Windy City? You got to get both? Both? You got to get Brussels sprouts, bananas, cucumbers, and you still want your heart medication? And you still want your insulin? Woo! They greedy in Chicago, man. They greedy. You get one or the other. You don't go in here and think you're going to get it. I'm going to get all my heart medication, and I'm going to go over here and see if they got some. I would have felt differently about that segment if I didn't see the photographs. Oh, it is only black people in this report. Talking about having to make that choice. Now, I know there would be people who would say there are plenty of white people. Wait for it. Context of white supremacy. Woo! Wait for it. I already hear it. Appalachia. There are toothless, dope addict, illiterate white people in the foothills of the Appalachians. West Virginia, yodeling, and they also struggle with those same choices: food, medication. White sacrifice in the system of white supremacy. What you just heard has been a part of government policy for a long time, all the way, but well, really, if you want to go back, I know as a slave, you don't have no type of benefit. So we skip through all that. And we probably have to skip through what they call Jim Crow. We have to skip through all that too. Okay. So we'd have to get to like 1900s, 20th century. Okay. So we abused and terrorized Negroes and raped them and all that, financially and otherwise, for all that time before that. So we get about the 1930s and so, and they say, well, all these Negro domestics, y'all are not going to get no type of, you retire, you have a little bit of change, anything left, that doesn't count. So that excluded a big chunk of Negroes right there. Matter of fact, that segment reminded me so much of Calvin Sherman. I had to get to that. Let me pause and set up correctly. All I was supposed to say was giggle and laugh. These greedy Negroes in Chicago, grandmas, I want to get my bananas at the store and my high blood pressure pills. Come on now. Context of White Supremacy, Neutralizing Workplace Racism. The host, Gus T. Renegade, worthless Negro from Virginia, in for another broadcast for non-white people. Individuals classified as white were not represented in that report, talking about eating cat food. As such, I do not think individuals classified as white need to listen to this broadcast at all. It is not intended for white people. Today's date, Thursday, July 31, 2025. So I have been told, this broadcast not for spectators, and specifically, man, if we got folks retired, if you're classified as black and you manage to retire. Now, I've said this before. If you are classified as black and you get to retire, you should write a book. I totally get it if you did not have it in your brain computer or thought process. I'm going to write a book about my experience, be my memoir of, racism on the job, what they did to Leroy. Yeah, how they did Lakeisha. Yeah, that's what I'm going to call. I get it if you weren't thinking that, but man, it is not intended for Negroes. How many Negroes you heard retired from the plantation? Literally, metaphorically, how many Negroes you heard retired from the plantation? It's not intended for that at all. They excavated some of the remains, skeletal remains. I believe this is in New York, Wall Street, where they found all these bones, and they said, literally judging the evidence, they said they worked these Negroes to death, literally. That's what's intended. System of white supremacy, or retire with nothing. Choose Brussels sprouts, heart medication. Make a choice. Brussels sprouts might count as heart medication. I'm not a doctor. Anyway, that's what's intended. If you are classified as black, even non-white, but especially if you're classified as black and you get to retire and you're not eating cat food, oh man, write a book. How did you do it? You can put in like some of the experiences, times where you were really mistreated, how many times you didn't get a raise, how many times you trained some lame no-count race soldier and they got promoted way beyond you and they could barely remember how to turn the computer on. Put all that in there. Reflections, lessons learned, things that you would share if you had it to do over again, things you would like to know from day one so that you could do differently, do better. All of that. And then even how you managed to retire. What did that process look like? When did you start saving and all the rest of it? Lifestyle changes that you had to make or not. Let us know, because that would be grand. If you are classified as black, the Neely Fuller Jr. That's what I'm saying. Like, I hadn't really thought of it that way, but I mean, hey, that is it exactly. That is not supposed to happen. White people, the way things are set up, you are not supposed to work a job for 30 years, retire, get your little pension so you don't have to eat cat food. You can reflect on your work experience, write a book or several books, and talk about racism in your retirement years in good health with a plate full of Brussels sprouts or whatever healthy victuals you choose to eat. Like, that is not supposed to happen. If you are able to do that, write a book. Write it with as much detail as possible. And then even, like I said, racism you experienced on the job, Any hoodles. If we have folks, black people, who retired, reflections, even how did racism impact your ability to retire? Were there times we're like, man, it seems like these white people want me to get back in here and pick that broom up and go back in there and sweeping again. Like, man, I'm trying to retire and they making it difficult. Did you have that? You know, did you lifestyle changes? Because we had one of the young ladies in the report. She said she was getting ready to retire. She had saved up, but with inflation and everything, she ran out of money in 2 years. That would suck. How long do you need to save? How much? I think it was Mama C, non-Clemson dad, said they had talked about retirement. They said, man, the money that we make, and then we got old uppity non-Clemson dad. He goes in and upset the white people and asks questions and call them stupid and flex his valedictorian credentials. We'll never be able to retire. Man, we have to work till we're 90. That is the plan. Standard operating procedure. Be out here teaching dance lessons at 95. Yep. That is the plan. Racist plan, I might add. But if we have folks, non-white, particularly classified as black, did you get to retire? How? The racism you experienced along the way. Even reflections on your, career as well. But that segment staggered me, especially when I got to the end and everybody here is classified as black, which is not that surprising because I'm in Chicago. There's lots of niggers there, Dr. Welsing, but still. Number 720-716-7300, the code 564-943 pound. Press star 61 if you would like to participate. Number again, 720-716-7300, the code 564-943 pound. Press star 61 if you would like to participate. Email untiljustice@gmail.com. untiljustice@gmail.com. Not for spectators. Even if you listen to the archives, right? You can email. We can read it the following week. If you listen, on Monday, the program airs every Thursday. So you can always email and we'll add your commentary along the way. But not for spectators. We have way too many, way too many non-white people who are overjoyed and excited to talk about television and entertainment and really frivolous commentary nonsense as opposed to labor. We just had Nikki High on the program the other day, entrepreneur. Hey, system of white supremacy and racial dislocation, she said, took 50% of her customer base. Now, you want to talk about Netflix, or you want to talk about being a black entrepreneur and the system of white supremacy? Shout out to Nikki High, black entrepreneur, Octavia's Bookshelf, Southern California, Pasadena specifically. Support, check them out if you are down there, nab a book or 8, maybe get a group. Order all the tremendous efforts that she has been carrying out down in SoCal, just in the archives 2 days ago. Any hoodles, let's see the archives the reports that we started with today. First one about the heat. It is currently 78 degrees Fahrenheit in Seattle. That's very, very right on our average temperature, and it's overcast even, so it's not like the sun is beating down on us. Looks like it could rain even. I don't know all about that heat, craziness, and such. It's 78 degrees and temperature is falling. But if you are in those areas that are having major heat and 90 degrees and triple digits and all of that, hydrate. I do not advocate Gatorade. I don't know how that got in there. Water. If you got to get electrolytes, you can put lemon, you can put lime in the water that's really inexpensive, at least around my place. I am a broke black male and I can afford limes. I had some today. Or lemons. I didn't have those today. I had limes, but either or. You can put that in your water. Watermelon. I am a broke black male. I have watermelon in the refrigerator right now. I had watermelon the entire time I was in Milwaukee. Yellow watermelon even. If you want to get the electrolytes, I would not drink Gatorade. All that sugar. That's one I think too, because they got all those goofy colors like purple and red and orange and all that old nonsense. Like, come on, man. You could just go get some oranges or what have you and have that there. You could... They have popsicles that are fruit-based, don't have all that sugar and color and whatever. That's how, real talk, you end up having to make a choice about, am I going to get my insulin or I have to get cat food? Hey, maybe we could ease up on all these unnecessary sugary beverages. And that's sugar taxed. I don't know if they have that everywhere, but here in Seattle, that would be sugar tax. You have to pay extra for that because it's got all that sugar in it. And you can tell, I do not drink Gatorade. Like, I used to drink that like, woo, when I was tubby, yes, I drank Gatorade. But since then, no. Drink water, tea, unsweetened, or it's, man. Did I say watermelon? I said watermelon. They were talking about the electrolytes and all that. Like, Jesus Christ. Anyway, they had the report on the loss of federal jobs and how that has disrupted the Department of Justice. So-called, shout to COINTELPRO and J. Edgar Hoover, rhetorical rhetoric. And I think they were talking, the guest said that he got in trouble because he would not refer to these so-called immigrants as terrorists. Words are important. I took note in that segment, too, that they said that they had purged the whole civil rights division. I think, oh man, that's the people that you would go to if you allege you think racism might have been a product. We only got one person now, so you thought we were understaffed before. Like, woo, we got 6,000 complaints and one person to answer the phone. Not by coincidence or accident. Let's see. And they said confuse. Keep saying that. Confusion. Just keep people in a state of confusion. They had the report, the young people not getting a job. Now, we just talked about this within the last month. We had the young lady, I believe she was in New York, and she said, man, how do you talk to older people who might say, you know, that's a bunch of hogwash. All these young people with their pants hanging off their behind, y'all are lazy and shiftless, and you don't want to work. We did hear that in the segment from the females in Chicago, but they don't want to work. They don't want to show up on time or do anything. They're not serious. They're unprofessional and blah, 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 all this other stuff. She said, how do you talk to older people about how difficult it is to get a job? There you go, right there. They said, we're not even hiring interns. Now, a lot of times, you don't even pay interns. That's just a freebie so they get experience. I don't feel like being bothered. You even for the Bill Clinton fund with the interns, even for the I'm good. I'm gonna get on the Chat GPT. Might even do the Jeff Toobin for all that, right? Anyway, but they said I'm gonna get on the Chat GPT. If we need something written up that we would normally get the low level intern to do, Chat GPT got it. You know, we just use the old AI for the rest of it, and yeah, we don't even need these low level folks. Eep. Now if that is true, and they said you got young folks with degrees and they're somewhat skilled, and even they can't get a toe in the door, eep. They said you got a whole lot of young folks now, what we had said previously, man, you got a job search and think or develop skills like what sort of career and studying do I want to pursue? What sort of job do I think I could even try to get in 5 years that won't be taken by computers and AI? 10 years, what sort of job will I still be able to do that won't be taken over? And it seems that list is getting very small. I think I said they reported by 20, I think it was, they said within the next 20 years, they said about 65% of jobs are going to be taken over AI automation. 65%. That is massive. That would be, one. And like I said, now if it's an older person who is receptive to, wow, I didn't know that. They're not even hiring interns. Interns don't even get paid, and you're not even bringing them in for the experience of it all. Wow. Different world. Yes, Grandpa. Different world indeed. Let's see. And speaking of now, I can start right there. We just had on Monday, brilliant Dr. Angeline Spalding Flowers. She's been a guest on the program repeatedly. I personally have learned so much from her. Many listeners have said that they have as well. We've talked about numerous books that she authored. This past Monday, she, VGQ, Victims Guaranteed Qualified, said, hey, I think black males, like myself, participate in male supremacy and the oppression of black females. She said that we, Leroy and I, do not oppress white women, but we do go upside the skull and mess over black females. And the illustration that she gave was that the black males at the March on Washington totally excluded black females, except one, from participation in speaking, or whatever you want to say, giving their own words, talking, being a voice at this historic event, 1963. You had Mahalia Jackson, who got to sing, and I think Gloria Richardson got maybe 30 seconds. Other than that, and VGQ. Now, we just heard that big report, 20 minutes, WBEZ, Chicago Public Radio, not one black male. It was everybody, the announcers, the CEO of the community program in Chicago, Miss Cheryl Holman, and then all of the participants, even the young lady who was supposed to be on the program, Tammy Spivey, but she couldn't make it at the last moment, black female as well. I'm not mad. I enjoyed it. That's why I played the whole report. I thought it was very informative, and hopefully we can add that to our discussion today. But I've said this for years. When they have discussions, particularly on mainstream outlets, WBEZ, NPR, PBS, Democracy Now!, and there's some sort of discussion about racism in the workplace, invariably they totally exclude black males, as though the only people who experience racism in the workplace are black females, non-white females. This report, it was exclusively black females, and I've seen this pattern over and over and over. One, now if black males don't get to retire in Chicago, halt right there. Why is that? The same thing I said, book that was published, Some Constructive Information, Grandmothering While Black. I said, wait a minute. It's not grandparenting while black? Are there no grandpas? And if they're not, why is that? Too busy oppressing black females? That's why we don't grandparent? Come on. Come on, talk sense. But I've said this happens all the time, and these are current illustrations that happen all the time. I don't have to go back 80, 70, 50 years. It's all the time where either black males are not counted, or like I said, now, if they're not retiring, so that's why they're not a part of discussion, do they not get jobs in the first place? So they don't get to retire. That would be something to discuss. Maybe even a part of this discussion. It should even be pointed out. Are there black males that get to participate in this program? It sounds like it might be beneficial. No? Are they all locked up? I'm caping for black dudes. My fault. Anyway, so we get to the report, which I did think was constructive, even sans Leroy. But we did get to hear from Patricia Johnson, Sandra Robinson, Sharon Rainey. They're all black females, victims of racism, and participants in this program to help seniors, folks that are over 55, find employment so they can be a little bit more financially stable, not have to eat cat food. And then they also had the CEO of the program, the Community Assistance Program, Ms. Cheryl Holman, again, black female, everybody, including the WBEZ interviewer. Now, they importantly said, some of these young ladies, hey, before we got to this program, we were either starving, totally terrified of being homeless, doing Uber, and the young lady, she stopped, she said, hey, that was not safe. Now, I said, we talked about that ride share before and how it can be unsafe for everybody, passenger, driver, whatever. But this is workplace racism, folks. So from the driver perspective, we've talked about this in terms of the wear and tear on the vehicle. Do you get paid? Safety, and that seemed like her concern. I didn't hear her say nothing about the gas mileage, or we didn't get proper benefits, or Uber didn't value me as a worker. It seemed like safety and having all of these odd people in Chicago with such a big city and a tourist city. So you got people from all over the world coming to Chicago and might be asking to, hop in your car and go here and go there. Like, ooh wee. And Chicago ain't that far from Milwaukee. In distance or danger, Chicago ain't that far from Milwaukee. So, I mean, matter of fact, Jeff Dahmer went up to Chicago to do some delectable Negro. So I could see why older person or younger person, even if I was 25 and bench press 400 pounds, I don't know, you might get the drop on me, man. I got my hands on the wheel, I'm looking at the road, and they beating swangoed me, and I don't even know I don't have time to turn around and bang on you a couple times and throw you out in my car and be too late, That's one. They continue, they said, I already talked about, and you're going to say, hey, I want to retire. I'm over 40, I'm over 50, I'm getting close to the finish line. So they say, even though they keep pushing it back a little bit, and it's 67, they might push it up to 70, 75, 90, who knows? They say, I'm thinking I'm want to enjoy, take some of my time. Maybe I have grandchildren. Maybe I want to write that counter-racism book. Maybe I want to grow monsteras like old Gus T. Whatever. But I'm tired of being on the plantation. I'm going to retire. I need to save up my nickels. That right there. White, woo, you talk about inflation. You could have saved and been looking good, and then COVID hits, and you get all that historic inflation. Oh, my Lord. I thought I was looking good, and now I can't even afford a sack of potatoes. Like, what? White people can ruin everything. Again, it is not cash. Who sets the value on the money? Usual suspects. But that would be another one to think about. Like, now, dang, they changed the value and this and man. The no males already got that. They said we're going back to the times and people ate cat food. Now I don't know, was this like a 2000s, 1960s, 1930s? I'm not sure. Now, what they call food insecurity, I can say that is all the time in the system of white supremacy racism. I mean, Jesus Christ. Although you can look at that either way. The diabetes aspect of this and the bad food that people eat, you can look at it that way, and not being able to afford anything healthier than whatever they got on the dollar menu at McDonald's or whatever they got at the dollar store, that you can look at it that way in terms of, wow, we've been food insecurity for a very long time. Now, I can easily say, well, Dollar General, that's not the same as eating cat food. Okay. I don't buy any of my food items at Dollar General. I don't shop at Dollar General. I was thinking there's food, but I don't shop at Dollar General. In fact, if you tried me, I would have to look to even find, like, where is a Dollar General in Seattle? Like, it would take me a moment. Like, I'd have to, that would be a field trip. Like, where is a Dollar General in Seattle, even if I did want to go to such an establishment? Harriet A. Washington recommended not eating there. But I would submit we've had a food crisis for the duration of white supremacy racism. Delectable Negro. Matter of fact, Catherine Massey Book Club, Mahmoud Abdul Rauf said that he was hungry all the time. That wasn't no ancient history. That was 80s and 90s. That's why I said, like, I don't know when they were talking specifically about we're going back to old times of people eating cat food. Like, when? When would be the good time? Like, so if things were bad at one point, when were the good times when the victims of racism, classified as black, we were all eating high on the hog in this part of the world in terms of food? Anyway, Gus T did have a strawberry, banana, cherry, peanut butter smoothie today that was exquisite. So maybe today is eating high on the hog. You got your Vitamix blender and all your, maybe that is, hey, we are eating high on the hog. But most black people I know do not have a Vitamix. Maybe I haven't been around the correct ones. It just stood out to me, in addition to the fact that everybody that they talk to in this report that's contemplating, do I get cat food? Do I get my medication? When they got to the end, they said, what do we do? You know, they've canceled funding to this program, and we heard the same line. The white people who canceled the funding to this program, they don't know. It would even be better, and it might, be gangster. They say you militant. They don't care. Because you could say you quoting MJ, right? They don't really care about us. He said, I'm quoting MJ. Mike Jack, he put it in the song. Put it in the video. They don't care about us. They said, yeah, you definitely a militant nigger. We don't want you around here no more. Which, hey, they already fired you, so I mean, hey, at this point, you don't have as much to lose. But man, all that, they don't know that, in my view, that should no longer be the default. When white people make a decision that is going to be harmful to black people, non-white people, there is zero logical reason for the default response to be they didn't know, they didn't understand, they were not aware of what they were doing and the repercussions of their actions. All of that is false, all of that is ahistorical, and it is not logical. These white people are often more informed. Frequently, the white people who do all of this, they sat down and planned this years before you even became aware of it. They know way more about this than you do. Even the dimensions of the racism of it, they know way more about it than we do. So that should not be said. Where I do know where that comes from. The usual suspects, our friends who train how we think. But that should not be said that they're doing this thing that is awful and is going to ruin our lives and potentially have us eating cat food, and they did it because they don't know. False. Victims guaranteed qualified, but false. That is not logical. You don't have to say that they did it deliberately, but just don't say they didn't know. They weren't aware. They don't understand. They don't care about us. Mike Jack. I also want to get in real quick. I won't say I'm nervous, but anytime when something like this, you're talking about black people potentially being homeless, don't have food to eat, like these are dire, life-threatening circumstances, and the response is, what will we do? Pray. Hope. I'm not disparaging prayer. I ask people, hey, pray Brother Gus survives Milwaukee. I'm not disparaging prayer at all, but that should not be the totality or even the first thing when we get to a plan or what should be done about problems relating to white supremacy racism. Prayer, to me, that means we don't have no type of response, thought, logic, nothing. I mean, we hoping for magic beans, Superman, Marvel's Black Panther, like anything, Lucky Quarter, anything at this point. Like, okay, we just hope for the best. That is not what we need. Prayers and hope. We need logic. Number to dial, 720-716-7300. The code 564-943#. Press star 61 if you would like to participate. Do we have folks planning to retire? Do we have black people victims of racism who did retire? What were the obstacles, the racism, reflections on your workplace experience? I know we've talked about this a few times before, but that report, I thought it was important. We had other folks who retired and then had to go back into the workplace. What was that experience like? Did you experience where the young workers, white and or non-white, were they hostile to you? Get out of here, you old fuck. I don't want to hear nothing about you. I'm on my phone. Beat it. They ain't rude. Or they trying to learn. Like, you got any tips so I can deal with these white people? Anybody? You got any? You don't know nothing? They beat you up too? Dang. All right. Just, if we have folks in that experience, let's see. Folks who dialed in with a hand up. Let's see. Z's mommy. Non-Clemson dad should be with us. I'll grab other hands as well.
Can I be heard?
Yes, ma'am.
Greetings. For your first question, well, I'm not at retirement age and I haven't retired, but my parents did retire and they did talk to me a lot about the steps they took to reach retirement. One thing was my mom, she and my dad, they started saving for retirement their first job that they ever got. I think it was like at a Chinese food store or like a 7-Eleven, but they already started saving if there was ever an option. I know that the 401k is kind of risky because it's in the stock market, but that's what they use to retire. My mom would always tell me to max out your 401k, and if you get a bonus, to put a majority of it into your 401k because that's pre-tax, so you're not getting taxed for it. And then if you max out your 401k, then by the end of the year, you won't be putting that money into your 401k, so you'll basically kind of, in a way, be getting your bonus back, if that makes sense. So I thought that was really helpful, too. And also, it helps that my parents moved to a lower cost of living country afterwards, so the amount that they need to retire is a lot less. But also, you have to, talk to a tax person, accountant, before you do something like that, because there's a lot of different type of rules that come with that. What was I going to say? Oh, I thought it was, and another thing that helped my mom a lot, I think, is that she had a lot of mentorship by Black people at her job, and that's kind of, she just built a lot of relationships with a lot of older Black people who had been working there longer, and to this day, even though she's retired, she still contacts them and keeps in touch with them, and I think that helped her along her career a lot in terms of getting recommendations. And there were just a lot of, because she was a nurse, so there's a lot of non-white Asians who like to take away opportunities from the Black people there, so I think that helps her too. I thought it was interesting you were talking about older people not understanding how hard it is to look for a job or to get a job as a younger person right now. I had that experience because my mom used to kind of say that, and then she had to apply for a position. It was an internal position, and it was one that she was likely going to get, but she had to apply for it and fill out, do her resume, update it, and she needed me to help her, and she was getting really frustrated with the process. And I think it finally put into perspective for her that, when I'm applying for jobs, I sometimes have to change my resume 5 or 6 times because I need to apply to different jobs. Now they use AI, so I have to make sure I'm using the correct words. And then a lot of times I have to put a cover letter and change the cover letter per job. And I think just from doing that one, because she hadn't done a job application for 15 or 20 years, just from doing that one application and resume, I think it put a lot into perspective of how difficult it is for younger people. to talk about what's going on in my plantation. So I'm traveling for work for a few months. I'm unfortunately in Texas. It's very, very hot. I have to work outdoors for a majority of the day in the heat. And one thing that helped me is I have a Camelback. And whenever I'm in like the trailer, I put really cold water in my Camelback. So I always have water and I don't lose it because it's literally on my back. I recommend anyone and everyone getting one. I feel like it's kind of priceless because you always have access to not just water, but cold water because it's like insulated. So I'm traveling for work. I drove a long drive from California to Texas on my own. It was kind of scary, but I made it. So I'm working with, I don't know, it's hard to say if he's white or non-white. He's Arab. His family's from Saudi Arabia. He's like my team lead for this project, or the lead for this project. And he's had a couple issues. He doesn't go outside. He never goes into the actual plant that we're engineering, that we're putting together. So he doesn't know what's going on. And sometimes I'm on the roof for maybe sometimes 5 hours out of the day. And he's always like, I can't even be on the roof for an hour, which that's a part of his job. But my boss, who's non-white, Asian female, she basically took away those two scopes of work from him and gave it to me because she felt like I would actually go outside. I would talk to the welders and I would be able to I'm still relatively newer than him, but I would at least be able to be more active and proactive. But she did have a long conversation with him about his just lack of actually going into the plant or being outside. And so I work with him and I work with another non-white Asian male who he keeps saying he's from Jamaica because his parents, I think there were a group of Chinese people who immigrated to Jamaica a long time ago and who maybe there's a Chinese community there. And he keeps telling people, you wouldn't be able to guess my ethnicity, which obviously, the subtext of that question is Jamaicans are generally seen as being black, so you would never guess that he's Jamaican. But I feel like it was irritating me because, one, he's not Jamaican because that's a nationality. He doesn't have Jamaican citizenship. And two, it's not an ethnicity, even though those terms are kind of convoluted in general. But anyway, I wanted to add that context because the non-white Arab male keeps saying the N-word to him, with an A, what's up, my nigra, or my N-word. And I overheard him saying that. And right when he said it, he was like, oh, I shouldn't have said that because I was in the room. And then I had, so I told my boss about it, the non-white Asian female. And she was like, wait, I think I overheard him saying something like that when he was around that Asian male who says he's Jamaican. I hope this is all making sense. She was like, but I thought there's no way he said that. I can't believe he said that. And so she had a long conversation with him about it. And then a couple of days later, he talked to me and he apologized, but he kept saying, I just want you to forgive me. Do you forgive me? Can you forgive me? And I just said, thank you for apologizing. But I never, I don't even know what that would mean, to provide him forgiveness. So I didn't say I forgave him. But I just thought it was very, very interesting. And then the last thing I wanted to say was that because he's handling the project so poorly, my non-white Asian female boss is coming to live in Texas as well to oversee the project. So this is a project that was previously handled by one person in another facility, and now it's being handled by 3 or 4 people because he's not handling the project correctly. And And so she's coming here. So she asked me if I wanted to come view a place that she wanted to move into with. And I was like, sure. So I went with her to look at the place. And she had been talking to the white male who was trying to rent out the place to her for a while. And it seemed like he was responding very well to her. And then immediately after we left looking at the place, when he physically, I think, saw maybe me, he completely ghosted her. He didn't message her back, and she kept messaging him like, hey, I'm moving soon. I want to know if this place will work still. No response from him. And I told her, like, I have a feeling that he didn't, like, want to rent the place out to us when he saw us. And she was like, oh, yeah, he probably thought we were a couple. And I was like, I don't think that's why, but I didn't push further on it. I just thought that was interesting. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
That is hilarious. Oh, that is hilarious. Woo! I don't think he wanted to rent to us. You think he was an old homophobe? You think he was pulling some old anti-LGBTQ on us? What? Dirty. Nope. I think that was probably a wise decision. Said, I'm not gonna correct. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. I don't think they wanted to rent to us for whatever the reason. I don't think they. Wow. Let's see. I did want to rewind. She said she was talking with her mom. She said that her beloved, or I guess she got great advice from her parents about retirement. Can you believe it? Saving that money, being disciplined, almost sounding Fuller-esque, if I may. Not just going out reckless, spin, and get 15 Cadillacs. She didn't say that. Save. You get a bonus, put it back in the 401k. Save. She said the very first job they got, I think she said at the 7-Eleven, making Slurpees. Saving for retirement. Jeez. Brilliant. She said that's why I said talk to your children. And her parents talked about their work experience. That's what I said we should be doing. It should not be a mystery. Someplace that you go and slave and go through all that terrorism and abuse for 40 hours a week to help take care of these people that you say you care about. That experience should not be a mystery to them, especially once they're, old, especially once they're old enough to get a job themselves. But even before that, keep saying, if you want to talk about racism, white supremacy, there you go, the workplace. I'm sure they even got some stories. We got saving Negroes. What is this? Y'all supposed to be, you sure you don't want Cadillac? You sure? Keep an eye on y'all. But so they got great advice. She got great advice on retirement. And even, hey, they got all those tax questions and things you're going to have to get figured out if you're trying to move and go overseas to make that money go further so you don't run out of cash in 2 years. See there? Then she said that even her beloved mommy has participated in some of this sass-mouthing and saying, oh, see, you young folks are lazy and shiftless and you don't want to get out there and work. And I went out there and did my thing and dum-dum-dum. She's, position that she wants internally, move up, probably rightfully earned. And she said, hey, I've been gainfully, stably employed, unlike Leroy, for a good 15, 20 years doing my thing. I haven't updated my resume for what? And she said just that process alone, having to go and update that resume, she got frustrated and, ooh-wee, is this what it is for the young people? Ooh, I ain't going to sass them no more. And I've heard that from some other folks that all it take one time. And I think we said that, like, when was the last time you had to go and apply for a job? You had to do the AI interview yet? Go apply for a job. You don't even have to go apply for a big time like CEO position. See if you can get a job at a grocery store. Just apply and see if you can get through. not being ready to curse somebody or whatever else, much less get smacks with some ageism. Ooh, Grandpa, we don't. Ooh, 57. We don't. No, thank you. Next. Little empathy. Yes. She said man, we got so much from her work environment. So she's in the great state of Texas. Pause for Jamesburg Jr. And it's hot to see. I told you, I said now, I think most people in the continental U.S., they would take 78 degrees Fahrenheit for a daytime high. I know for sure. Every locale, village, hovel in the great state of Texas, they would take 78 degrees as a daytime high for today. She said, it's hot. You got to have the Camelback on. I'm about to die and got to be outside for 5 hours and hope I don't get a heat stroke. I said that at the beginning, man. If you got to be outside like that, that is black self-respect. Now, it sounds like she's doing this intelligently. Camelbacks, she can have cold water at all times. Be mindful. Am I feeling okay? Wearing appropriate clothing and all the rest of it. But, man, I don't know. This fella, so-called Arab, he might have it right. I don't go up on the roof. It's too hot. I didn't grow up in Texas and all that. I'm not going to talk to the welders, and I'm going to get me a Slurpee and stay over here in the air conditioning. Send her, yeah, she got it. Z's mom, she got it. Go up there and, yes, you can report back and let me know, what it is. Now, all this about the fella who she says, how did you find out that this fella is not Jamaican? Did you talked to him, he told you he was born in Mississippi or wherever, and he just came up with this lie about being Jamaican?
So his mother is Chinese. His father is from a group of Chinese people who immigrated to Jamaica, but he was born in Florida. So they moved to America before he was born.
I see. Okay. So he's lying about this, and then the Chinese population that settled in Jamaica. And so I guess, Jamaican is not an ethnicity. That's a so-called nationality, I think. And so he's trying, I guess, whatever he's trying to do is, I don't even know what all that is. Anyway, and so all of this leads to the banter, sup my nigga, Nigga, between, I guess, some of these non-white. Are all these people that are engaged in this, are all of these people non-white, non-black?
I believe so, except I could not tell you if the Arab male, the one who said the N-word, is non-white or not. That's up to white people. It's too hard for me to tell.
What do you think? Like, if you had to, money on the line, white, non-white, what do you think?
If I saw that his name was like Peter Wolf, then I would say yes, he's white. Because his name has a different context, I think it makes my eyes see something differently. But I would say, yeah, he's white.
You think white?
Yes.
Okay. Still with the question mark, we got all that. Okay. Let us know if you get any updates on the classification. So we think this could be a white dude, and then all these other non-white people who are participating in, what's up, my nigga, and blah, blah, blah. Apparently they do this sort of thing all the time, because she said, which doesn't surprise me, but she said once she shared that this happened, the other young lady, non-white, seemed like it kind of jogged her memory, like, oh man, I think I might have heard, them doing the same thing. I mean, professionalism in the workplace. That's another reason why I'm a big advocate. I think Z's mommy has told us before, I think the same job where she said they would have people that were white people that were very unprofessional and would come in wearing like Pop Smoke paraphernalia and just unprofessional. what they wear and how they behave in the workplace. And sometimes that can be, we're going to play all kinds of inappropriate sounds, music in the workplace, might have songs where people are saying nigger and all the rest of it. And that just becomes, this is our so-called workplace fun. None of that is professional or appropriate. I'm very sure there would not be, what up, my chink, my slant eyes, and come on. It's 2025. Everybody's very aware of this, and it didn't, unless I, wasn't paying attention or what have you. It didn't sound like Z's mom went into protest mode and how dare you and I got black pride and you don't talk that way. Who do you think? It didn't sound like she did any of that. Just she walked in and they self-sensed oh, they knew, man, this is not professional. This is super inappropriate. We should not be engaged in. They knew immediately. And then we get into all this tacky, oh Lord, I'm so sorry. And I'm going to pray for Rosa Parks. I'm going to pray for Dr. King. Can you please forgive me? Can you please? Come on. That Fuller said, you don't ask for love. You don't ask for no apology. I don't think you should be asking for no forgiveness either, because I'm in the same position. I don't even know what that would mean. Forget, because I don't even use language of that way. Can you do what? And I think that's brilliant. I appreciate your apology. And let's get back to work. I'm not even responding to the, forgive or not forgive or all that other old nonsense. Hey, thank you for the apology. Let's get back to work. Hopefully we can get back to working in a professional manner. How about that? We don't have to waste time dealing with this sort of nonsense, in the future. And I would highlight that too. This is not what we came to work for, I don't think. Now we got to have all these old goofy conversations and talk about it. We might even have to have somebody from HR come in and remind us about what is appropriate decorum in a work environment. Come on. And it's already hot. Come on, man. That right there, though, is why I say no nicknames, no joshing around, because let's say let's say Z's mommy, let's say she was real casual like that and nicknames with everybody. They would just say, oh man, we just horse around. It's just a little tomfoolery in the workplace. You kid around with us, we kid around with you. We didn't even think it was anything offensive, Ma'am, sir, if folks are funny about them pronouns or what have you, no problem. Miss Johnson, Mr. Jackson, same thing. If you have an environment where they go by first names or whatever, no problem. Z's mommy. But you call people exactly by their name. No goofy nicknames or made up titles or anything of the nature. Professional. That way, why in the world are we talking? What up, my nigger? What? Why are y'all talking about? We can't go up on the roof to properly inspect and lie and say, well, it's too hot. I'm going to die. I'm about to melt. We can sit out here and be tacky, trashy, terroristic next to the air conditioning. Come on. It does not get any better than tacky, apparently, even with individuals who are not white. Let's see. The incompetence, I will say something about that. I might be in error, but it seems like I've heard, or we've heard from heard about a number of incompetent employees who are colleagues of Z's mommy in an environment where, she's not working at the tater tot factory, right? They got welders and stuff. You can cause a fire with that. That's serious. You kill somebody. You mess around with one of those welding torches. That's really serious. What in the world? I cannot. Now, maybe this dude is white. Maybe that helps, explain all that. But I cannot fathom if this had been like Z's mommy. Matter of fact, I remember she said it was a white fella, and she can correct me if I'm up here telling lies and my memory is bad, but I think it was a white fella who got hired around the same time as she did at the same job, and he came on. He just said, man, so many of the other folks that we work with, man, so many of these people are so intelligent. And I said, dang, he didn't include Z's mommy in it. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about these other people, not you, nigger, not man. That sort of thing. Like, if this was Z's mommy, she's in charge. This is your project out here. You're supposed to, make us look good out here in the Lone Star State. Okay. You messing around. You don't even want to go up on the roof. It's too hot. I got my shoes on. I'm mess up my pedicure. What? Like they're gonna leave you in charge of the project? You're messing. You got to have other people come out here and follow up on you. And matter of fact, we got to take responsibilities away from you. You got poor people skills. I heard that one before. You got poor people skill. You don't even go up here and talk to the welders and see how they're getting along. Project coming along. We're going to hit our deadlines. Okay. You don't even. We get these. Now, some of that does sound like that classic kind of racist offloading. We get more. Because I don't think they went to Z's mom and said, well, since we're going to give you some of his workplace responsibilities, we're going to give you a few of his nickels too. I don't think that. And if it did, shame on Gus for, making assumptions and such. But normally what they do, they shove a few more of those duties on the niggers, but we don't get no extra. We don't even get no acknowledgement. Like, man, you've been out there, Camelback empty, and she's still out there working up on the roof, and let's give it up. They don't even do that. And it's like, we'll be getting closer, in my view. Know that the system of white supremacy is about to be replaced with justice. You can get a black person in a position like that, they can go be lame, lazy, incompetent. I'm not going to go talk to them and all that. They get to stay in charge. All their bonuses, everything else. Maybe we send somebody out to check on Leroy, make sure we get everything done. But hey, Leroy get to stay in bed. And when we get to that day, not that that's what we want, but we get there, we about to get this here thing taken care of. I could be in error. Bravo, I think that is brilliant, though. Come on now. Please forgive me. Say you forgive me. You forgive me, don't you? Thank you for your apology. We'll get back to work. Stop being trifling and coming at it. Forgive me. Forgive me. Forgive me. Much obliged, Z's mommy. Stay hydrated. That's what I'm saying. They shouldn't have Gatorade. They could do it fly. They could have yerba mate iced, yerba mate tea for everybody. So they can stay hydrated. Keep her Camelback filled with the Fiji water iced. See? Non-Clemson dad, Mama C, Double O Dimples should be with us as well.
Yes. Can I be heard?
Yes, sir.
Right. Hello to everyone, Gus, callers, listeners. All right, I got a couple things. First and foremost, I am not of retirement age, but like Gus said earlier, my wife and I think we'll be working until the day we die. I hear a lot of older people blaming young people for their lack of work ethic. My sister is in college was looking for a job all summer and could not find nothing. If young people come off as apathetic about work, it's because they're looking around them and seeing no prospects for jobs and opportunities. They can't move out of their parents' house, and the cost of living is crushing. Young people are too young to have messed up the world to be blamed. But there's something to be said about older people who got to retire with pensions while allowing pensions to be bargained away for following generations for scandalous 401ks that always seem to crash when it's time to retire. Also, the jobs that young people used to hold, like restaurants and retails, are now being held by older and retired people. When it comes to the cost of living, as a society, we've decided rising housing values is more important than access to affordable housing. When housing values drop, developers stop building because the potential for profits are lost. When someone attempts to build multifamily housing in a single-family neighborhood, homeowners protest with a canard about lowering housing values. Speaking of privileged black males, one of my best friends from college had a stroke and died this week at the age of 41. He leaves a wife and an 11-year-old daughter. He was a clinical therapist. Last week I was on the phone with a young academic, and he was telling me about how happy he is to start his new master's program. He also took the time to help me better understand what he's going there to learn, and how I should take advantage of things like ChatGPT more as a counter-racist tool. Ever since that conversation, I've taken young academic up on his advice. Yesterday, my director called a half-hour meeting with all the department staff, including myself. While in a meeting with my director, I decided to record the meeting, and afterwards I transcribed it and ran it through ChatGPT to evaluate the meeting. Afterwards, I asked ChatGPT to create a one-page summary of the meeting, which I am about to read to you now with some changes to better reflect my thoughts with a little bit more of what I think to be important details. This meeting served as a reflective conversation about my role, experience, and trajectory within the department. I outlined my 11-year tenure, detailing contributions across planning, engineering, statistical analysis, public engagement, and special projects like a trail extension, interactive mapping, and transportation planning. These efforts reflect initiative, technical excellence, and leadership. While my director affirmed my value and expressed moderate support for my continued development, the feedback also highlighted an ongoing dynamic I've encountered. My skills and contributions are frequently met with surprise, even after more than a decade of service. This repeated pattern speaks less to my abilities and more to the institution's tendency to underestimate or overlook Black excellence, a reflection of the largest system of racism and white supremacy that governs professional perceptions, mobility, and validation. My answers to questions were framed intentionally to avoid triggering labels such as insubordinate, complacent, or difficult. Instead, I approached the conversation as an exercise in codification, asking pointed questions about advancement, visibility, and expectations while carefully avoiding the rhetorical traps that often penalize Black professionals for asserting their worth. The loaded rhetoric questions include, what do you think is working well? I said, I'm unsure. Instead, what I try to do is my job to the best of my ability, and where I feel I can help, I do. I asked if I feel stuck in my current position. After thinking about it for a moment, I responded that a lot of people are shocked at some of the things that I can do in my position, but the more that I find I can do, what they would quickly come to rely on my expertise in that thing. I was asked if there are things that leadership can do to help me succeed. I responded, I've had a meeting with my manager and the department administrator about things I can do for career development, which I personally will do if you know, like going to more planning conferences and local events and meeting more people. During the meeting with my manager and assistant administrator, they asked if I was happy. Matter of fact, my assistant administrator, this is also the person who signed up for my engineering license, the Black woman, has asked me if I am happy multiple times. Every time I answer the same way, I'm happy, and just looking for opportunities to do my job better and contribute more. In hindsight, the better answer to this question would be, thank you for checking in on me. I'm just doing my best to contribute to the organization and not even answering a question about being happy, because happiness is not part of my job description. Also, my director said to get more experience, I should look for opportunities and cross-training. And I saw this statement as a bit ironic because it was written into my evaluation, and it said in my director in the same meeting, then you recognize my contributions to help others in departments. Isn't that cross-training in some capacity? Also, I work with other departments outside of my immediate planning department, including the rec department on the trail project, the engineering and public works department on water design projects, and also the GIS department. How much cross-training do I need? In this way, the meeting was not only a career check-in, but also a quiet act of navigating and negotiating spaces within a system that is not designed with my elevation in mind. The next time this type of meeting occurs, I need to make sure I answer no questions about happiness or being stuck. The only legitimate answer is I do my job to the best of my ability and do my best to contribute where I can while doing my best to advance my career. And then immediately turn the question back on them about how do you measure happiness in the workplace? Do you feel that I am stuck in my position? And let the people who make these statements and ask these questions explain what they mean when they ask them. And before I turn it over, I'm going to turn it over to my wife because she wanted to add something as well too.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. This is Mama C. I just have a quick story to share. So one of non-Clemson grad students, she's been with us for probably like 2.5 years or so, just been dancing like salsa and Latin hustle, all of that. So she had pretty close to like 75 salsa videos alone. And she was hosting like a workshop where she would lead like a group class, as well as the people would have lunch that attended the luncheon. And so in preparation for that, she wanted to put together like a compilation of all the videos of her and non-Clemson grad dancing together. And so I was like, yeah, she's been coming to us and been a very loyal client. I was like, I can do it. I'll do like a compilation video, edit all the videos together, review them all 75 of those videos. And some of them were like quick, 20-second snippets, but some of them were like 5 minutes long. So it would take a lot of time, and she was willing to pay for it. But again, I was like, I can do something generous. And so she gave me about 4 months to complete the project, right? And, she keeps coming in and adding to the number of dance videos. And so naturally, I wait until the end. But she asked for us to send the video before we went on like a work trip, and that would have been probably like 3 weeks before. And she's an older lady. She's like 75 years old. So I was like, well, I can do a couple things. I can give her a Dropbox link. I can upload it to YouTube and give them a web link so they could access it via the web, or I could give her a flash drive. And I was like, fine, I'll just do all of them. So close to the end, but ahead of the deadline, I started reviewing all these videos, trying to figure out how I'm going to piece everything together. And she gave me 2 business cards, and I was supposed to email the Dropbox link to these ladies that worked. Basically, it's like a very large community of like 55 and up, retiree community, like a very affluent community. And so these ladies, they work down the mountain in the offices and everything. They kind of organize and coordinate the events and all that stuff. So she gave me 2 business cards, and I was like, great, I'll email these ladies the video, and I'll email the client. I'll CC her just to let her know I did what she asked me to do. I completed everything. And so I get the video done, put it on the flash drive, put it in Dropbox. The lady didn't want it on YouTube. I was like, fine. And I send the email. Mind you, this is like 2 weeks. This is at the beginning of June, and her event was like maybe June 13th. And so I'm ahead of schedule. I send the email, boom, 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 and then I send it, and I'm like, I'm done. I'm done with this video. It was a 35-minute video. It was really long. And I was really proud of it, and she was very happy, overjoyed about it, and she felt really confident and ready to, kind of show off what she's learned and how what an amazing experience she's had dancing. And so I wait. I don't get a response email from these 2 ladies in the office, and I'm like, they received the email. They're going to do the right thing. And so the week of the event, this is middle of June, the client was like, hey, did you ever get a response from them? And I said, no. And she was like, would you mind sending it again? And so I was like, oh, yeah, sure. I can just, forward the email. And I still had the addresses and everything. And so I forwarded the emails, and for one of them, I got an auto reply, and it was like the message was blocked. I was like, what? And so I send it again. I send that same email again. And I'm like, okay, maybe I did a typo. Maybe I made a mistake. So I check, verify the email addresses and everything. Then I put, there's a special option that you can select when you're sending emails, like a red receipt. And so I selected that option. Never used it before, but I've seen other people use it. And I was like, let me just select this red receipt button. And so I get a kickback from one of the email addresses again. And then the second one, I receive a reply message maybe about an hour later saying that they deleted it before they even opened it. And so this woman, I told her what happened. I sent her a screenshot, and I was like, they're trying to sabotage this. I was like, I did not do all that work for nothing, and she did not, put this event together for that video not to be shown. So I was pretty frustrated. And she drove down the mountain to go talk to these ladies and just be like, hey, here's the video. It's on a flash drive. I've got it right here. And for them to receive the emails. Those ladies said they never received any of the emails. And, you know, even though you have all this evidence, they will still lie. They will still lie. So, event went well. Everybody was amazed and everything. Nothing was sabotaged, but they were trying. They were trying to sabotage it. So, if you are sending emails and you need confirmation that the person received it, you know, verify the email, send it a couple times, and do the red receipt. And with that, I will end my share.
Dang. Before you get back to Double O Dimples, is this like, I'm just trying to see, am I ignorant? Like, do you think all this sabotage and wasting time, woof, man, talking to entrepreneurs and they say time is money, all this wasting time and gas, do you think this was just, you're just practicing racism, or is there a reason why they would do all this deleting of emails, and if y'all did all this work and they wanted the video, is there a reason other than racism?
No, I have no idea. I mean, when we send an email from our business account, we do have in our signature, we do have a picture of ourselves. So, and it's a legit business. Like, it has its own domain. It's not like xyzbusiness@gmail.com or Outlook or Hotmail or whatever. It's like a legit, you know, info@business.com email address, and we have a website and all that stuff. So I have no idea, but I would definitely say yeah. And you know, you click on, let's say they click on the Dropbox link or whatever, you can see non-Clemson dad is a melanated man dancing with a white woman, you know, white Jewish woman. So I'm not sure. But I would definitely say yes. But I just don't know what was the motivation, because they said that they were going to do it, but then they didn't follow through. And I gave them every opportunity to make it easy for them. I didn't ask them, oh, click this link and do all this and create an account, blah, blah, blah. I made it easy. You just click and put on the screen.
Much obliged for that extra tidbit. That, I don't know, maybe old, tall, dark, and handsome non-Clemson dad doing the two-step with a white woman, maybe that was triggering. Well, she said that some of these got deleted immediately. Might have been when they opened it the first time and saw that. Oh, I didn't, just delete. I didn't sign up for it. Yeah. Maybe that is wild though. Bravo for being persistent and not allowing for the sabotage to take place. And just, time and energy. I've talked about that forever. Put that in the prayer at the end. Like, you invest all that time and energy to put that video project together for some just racist nonsense at the end. Like, come on. Wasting time, energy, and gas. Because she said they had ended up driving to give it to, like, come on. Let's see. The non-Clemson dad's portion, I guess, pause, the privileged black male passes away at the age of 41. That is a heap of privilege right there. Hope he got to do lots and lots and lots of oppressing of females in the 41 years that he was here, since he was going to be a short timer on the planet. He had to just be, he had to be at every Diddy freak off and everything else. Like, come on. 41, and he has an 11-year-old? That right there is the motivation to replace white supremacy with justice. We don't have black people, privileged or no, dying at 41. We were talking about Jennifer Harris, black mom at McDonald's. She was stabbed to death at 39 with 6 children. I posted her GoFundMe page today. Condolences, 41-year-old black father. Privileged. Let's see. The man, he says he has the meeting with the folks at work about his role at the company. It should be, sterling and invaluable role at the company. Been here for over a decade. What do you mean surprise about what I have accomplished? He says they're going back looking like, what? You really? And certified? And what? Man, as a privileged black male myself, that it rings so familiar. Now, this may extend to non-white people in total. But now, again, non-Clemson dad is a valedictorian. We are not talking to, your typical Leroy, high school dropout, smoking Newport cigarettes all day long, being in the fool talk. That is not non-Clemson dad. But what? You did what? Really? I've been here 11 years, man. Come on. It reminds me, I'm no valedictorian. Not, I'm the one, back of the class and all that. Can't even spell valedictorian. But man, I did, get through school. I didn't flunk out. That's not, you don't get genius brownie points, anything of that metaphor. But I did get through school. I can read. I'm not bragging. That's not anything to boast about. I can read. I literally have been around people that, what? You know how to read? Yes. Where it seems this is shocking. What? Let me take a picture. I got a call. Do you know I met a black male that knows how to read today? I'm not fooling. Seriously. Here, take this. Read this. Let me get this on TikTok. You seen that before? Man, I done seen a bear ride a tricycle and a Negro male reading. Now, I know myself and Leroy, we don't have the most impressive resumes, but dang. It's even worse because non-Clemson dad does have an impressive resume, and it's still, wow, this nigga boy knows how to read. Isn't that something? He didn't even go to Clemson. Wow. He just told us. I thought he's doing driving the bus and got the CDL and all that, and yeah. Whew. Man, what is it? John Henryism? They give you that goofiness, say you got to work twice as hard to get half as far. You got, apparently, from what Z's mommy just told us, you have non-black people with less melanin who are kind of incompetent. They're already in leadership positions. I don't even like going out in the sun. I don't do that. You send a dark girl out there. Let her do all that. She got the camelback. Yeah, you send a dark girl out there. Let her do that. We've heard that before. Other white people, unqualified, unskilled, non-valedictorian. Hey, they don't do all that. And people don't seem shocked that you can read. You've accomplished what? You graduated from where? You got your CDL? What? I thought you were some shiftless crackhead Negro. And the contagion. Remember that one? They said, yeah, we thought you might have brought the Rona down here to South Carolina. Yeah. Anyway, remember, I think non-Clemson dad was one of those who said, man, this work from home is amazing. Woo! You don't have to be around these folks in direct contact. Let's see. I love, he said, after going through this process, he said, there's a few of these questions. You are not going to do the gotcha and get me with that old, are you happy? That is not in the job description. being concerned with having smiling, giggling slaves on the plantation. That's so plantational, too. Like, are you happy? Y'all don't even pay me to be happy. Like, I'm here to do the best work. Man, I would be happy if I had some leadership opportunities. That's even a curveball. I don't, but man, that's not even what all this is about. Being happy. I'd be even happier with a raise. Retract the leadership. That's, all that is to the ends of me getting a few extra nickels. So I'd be really happy with a raise or more leadership opportunities to help me get that raise. But either or, that's not in the job description. Trip me up and have me as an old disgruntled nigger. Try and get me with the old, do you think you're stuck in this position? He even switched it around and said, I'm going to see if I can get the question back on them. Are you happy with my work and performance in this position? Uh-oh. I said, didn't I say that before? I said, Mama C and them said, see, that's exactly why we will never be able to retire. You get in these meetings and you get these old uppity niggers, they get a little education. Hey, I got to ask all the questions. Let me ask you a few questions. See, that's what. Matter of fact, not only are we not going to promote that boy, keep an eye on that boy. You got to watch him come in here and ask us all these crazy questions and contagious. See. Let's see. And the interagency work. Now, they had that fancy word. They said they have leadership, and they say you need to do more interagency work, or however they phrase it. And I said, man, I thought he got the CDL. I thought he went out and got certified and was doing it's like they were doing all kinds of planning and John Henryism, work twice as hard. Because he had just told us about driving the bus. Doesn't that count? Does that not count? Don't you know more about city planning? John Henryism. Much obliged. I guess is it too much to? What is the big deal about the happiness? Is that it? Is it too much to just say yes, I'm happy in my job and move forward? Do you think if you just say that and move forward, is there a problem with that response? Just saying, I'm happy in my current job and looking to learn and keep doing more. Is that something incorrect?
As of late, I have come to believe that is absolutely incorrect because the question is not whether or not you're happy. It's whether or not, based on your answer, you was a problem Negro. So if you're happy, oh, good. Yeah, we all agree that's a con. Negroes and non-Negroes involved agree that it's a con, but we all agree to continue the con by the Negro saying, yes, he's happy. But the moment the Negro stops playing the game, he's not happy. Oh, he's not going along with the con. Therefore, this Negro is a problem. That's why, and, I was talking to a young academic about it, taking advantage of ChatGPT. I put this stuff into ChatGPT and it actually put forth some really constructive answers. And the idea is that your answers, like all the teachings that come from people like Dr. Welsing and Neely Fuller, was about making sure your answers are non-emotional. That means taking out stuff that are superfluous and have nothing to do with the task at hand, which means that, for example, if they ask you that silly question of, are you happy? You thank them for checking in on you and say, I'm happy. I appreciate the check-in, but I'm here to do my job to the best of my ability. And if I am having, if I'm unhappy for anything, I will bring it to the appropriate channels. Just to sidestep that because it has nothing to do with the work. It's just about basically giving them an in for evaluating you for labeling and removal if necessary. Nothing more.
Removal. You are contagious, but removal. Wow. Thank you for indulging us. That much, much better grasp. Let's just get to the work at hand. I will let you know or notify the appropriate channels if there's a problem. Just about getting the work done. More leadership opportunities. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Problem Negro. I'm not going to say that I'm happy. Not going to say that I'm unhappy. I will let you know if there's a problem, and let's get to work with more leadership opportunities and a few extra nickels, I hope. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. You still in me uppity nigger. He came back and asked us all those questions. Keep an eye on him. Say the same thing that they said last week. And shout to young academic. The encouragement, the same thing. The white people said that we're not hiring interns because we just use GPT, excuse me. So victims of racism use the same technology. See if it can help us. He said he used it to get a summary of the meeting. Brilliant. Maybe some other folks can pick out some trends or what have you from meetings, especially if you record them. You'll have all the data right there. Sometimes they even will give you transcription because they have so much technology now. Sometimes they might even give you a transcript of the meeting. If they had it on Zoom or what have you, you already have all that information, so it would be easy to do. Shout to young academic. Write that book. Write that book. Congrats on the master's program, too. Make sure we get that in as well. Taking advantage of constructive resources for privileged black males. Going in with the idea of counter-racism from the beginning. We'll look forward to updates. Let's see. Number again, 720-716-7300. The code 564-943 pound. Press star 61 if you would like to participate. Not for spectators, the email untiljustice@gmail.com. We'll do one email, then nab other folks who dialed in. Email number 1, hi Gus and Cal's audience. Why do I compare right-wing Ashley to Brenda Spencer, the first American school shooter? Because both Zoe and I think she's bonkers. Zoe told me about a couple of incidents when we discussed right-wing Ashley's claim that she doesn't feel safe, in quotes, with me. The first incident happened when right-wing Ashley had her photo taken for her security pass. She did her hair especially for the photo, but didn't take an umbrella with her. It rained and her hair was ruined, and apparently security was very mean to her. She asked if she could take the photo on another day, but security insisted she take it. Right-wing Ashley claims security blamed her for the fact that they had to travel far to take her picture, which upset her so much that she cried in the well-being room for hours. That is a lot for a security picture. I mean, I get, some people, they take like driver's license photos and like a badge that you're going to have to wear for maybe a year or longer. Like, okay, I want to take a really good photo, but wow, that is a lot of drama for click. Later that day, she and other new staff were given a tour of the building. The person conducting the tour allegedly pointed out the well-being room, turned to her and said, "You know what that room is for, as you've been crying in there all day." Which upset her again. That is a little tacky, but I mean, yeah, that's... I don't really know what to say other than that is a little tacky and insensitive, but such is the system of white supremacy racism. So, continuing. Zoe is of the opinion that it did not happen. There was a tour. The person probably did acknowledge that right-wing Ashley had been using the room, but did not mention the fact that she was crying or anything else that could be deemed belittling or insensitive. Zoe also believes that right-wing Ashley believes those things actually happened. I do too. Right-wing Ashley is still a schemer and a liar, but there are signs of mental instability. Dang. Well, she did mention that they have other people there who seem a little mentally unstable, I'll say. So, yeah, certainly it could be possible. The master deceivers. We just heard, deleting the emails and what? I didn't get, what? So, master deceivers. But, dang. That is, dang. Okay. Continuing. There are times when she reveals her true thoughts on a topic, and the level of malice and anger is very disconcerting, especially because when you first meet her, she comes across as very young, innocent, sometimes anxious, but also does the fake nice act and can be helpful. It's been my experience that many people classified as white, I would say especially white females, they are very effective at the fake nice, master deceivers. The very posh racist suspect will take over as line manager. She met with right-wing Ashley, who decided to trash her previous managers. Shauna, according to right-wing Ashley, was disorganized and didn't manage her team well. Zoe didn't ask the very posh white woman what was said about her. I didn't ask Zoe what was said about me. I'm sure it wasn't anything nice, for sure. Right-wing Ashley has asked to speak to Phoebe, and the meeting is tomorrow. According to Zoe, Phoebe plans to tell her to stop nonsense and that she will not be moved off my projects. I hadn't realized that was right-wing Ashley's agenda. She is an impediment to me, so essentially I've been given resources that are anything but. Dang. Dang. Right-wing Ashley is, according to Zoe, starting her plant nursery business. Do what? The interference being while she's supposed to be working. What? The inference, being while she's supposed to be working. Do what? Do what? I don't even know what to say. How is she starting a plant nursery business? I say this with my monsteras looking at me, but how is she starting a plant nursery business? And we don't. Woo, what does it mean to be white? You aren't even good at this job. How are you? Are you about to leave this job? Oh my goodness. It is watermelon day on the plantation. Are you going to quit and go and just sell cacti, pothos, philodendrons? You send if you got one of them albino monsteras, you can get Gus T a discount. I appreciate it. If you get one of them in, give me the old at least half off, 'cause boy, them albino monsteras are expensive. Woo! Especially if you get a big one. Or get me one of them albino African milk trees. I just want, because I have the regular Negro one. If I get one of them albino ones, then I can compare how they grow side by side. But how is she starting a plant nursery? You're not even good at this job. I know, if you are a police officer and such, you can, what they call moonlight. You can get another security job when you're not as a police officer, but sometimes you get in trouble for that. Sometimes they have rules and regulations about that. You're starting a whole nother business and you're not even good at this job? What? I know if I was a black person, I wouldn't be promoting that. If I was in a questionable position, people, had allegations that maybe I'm not up to snuff, as they say, doing my job. I might even be mediocre or worse at my job performance. That's not going to be the time to let folks know, oh, Leroy got a gourmet cigar shop about 5 blocks down the road. Hey, you stop in for happy hour. We roll up something tough. That's not exactly going to be my, I went at a roller skating rink, whatever you can think of, pizza shack, none of the above. Do what? Because I'd be thinking, are you working on the pizza shack while you're in here, doing your shiftless half hind parts work? Is that what you're doing? Is that why you can't get it together? Maybe you need to go over there and work full time. That's what I'd be thinking. Man, what does it mean to be? You only have to be very good at this job, and they might even become clients. You come in the next day and on your desk looking wait a minute, I got a Venus flytrap. What did they? Well, we just wanted to support the nursery and get her off to a good start. What? If they're going to do that, like I said, if you can get Brother Gus, albino monstera, that would be one. Albino monstera, that would be top of the list, and then next down would be the albino African milk tree. I do know the scientific name for that, but it's kind of wonky. But the ghost tree, the African milk tree, the albino version, it is all white and sickly looking. Like I said, then I can have my experiment, put that next to the Negro one I have, and see how they grow and, you know, all the rest of it. But if she's going to do the nerd, what in the world? How do you open up Negro? Come on. Much obliged. The number again, 720-716-7300, the code 564-943 pound. Press star 61 if you would like to participate. The email untiljustice@gmail.com. I would say for non-white people, you do not want to be going, I would say really either way, unless you are really, really good at your job. You don't have any concerns. I don't think they're going to fire me today. I don't think I would be accused of raping any of my coworkers today. I would not be going and bragging about your other job. Like I said, I've seen even enforcement officers sometimes, they end up having problems and controversy because they'll say, man, sometimes we don't like, you know, having our police officers working, doing security overnight, you know, at the club or whatever the event is. Sometimes there's a problem about that. Or they want to be real, you know, they're going to have heavy scrutiny about how many hours did you work. And I would think, especially for a black person, and particularly if there are concerns about your performance, oh yeah, you're going to have to make a decision. One job or the other, because you don't even do this job well enough to be working two jobs. So I would not. If you are well established, you've been on your job for a long time, and you have a great rapport, at least at this point, and you have another job that's not controversial, a plant nursery, and hey, you think they might want to come in and hey, maybe we put a plant in everybody's office. That'll be mental health, and that can be a way that we bond or whatever. Hey, we get a big group discount, win-win for everybody, that type of thing. Or if you have, you know, a car wash business, everybody gets a company discount, they come in and get their car washed. Great. But for the most part, unless you're really established, secure in where you're working, I would, you know, keep that on the hush until you get on more secure footing at that job. Even in fact, I'd say if you own the business, oh man, all the sabotage and things that I've seen, yes, I would keep that to yourself until you get on good footing, you're square at that job and what have you, because there's a lot of sabotage as well. Folks can let us know how they've handled that. If you are an entrepreneur and then you still work another job, do you let people know? Do you keep it to yourself? How does that work to you? Maybe you share and you get lots of clients. If people have had that be the case, let us know. If it went the other route and people got upset, tried to cause you trouble because you had a business, you can let us know that as well. 720-716-7300, the code 564-943 pound. Press star 61 if you would like to participate. One will be here tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. Catherine Massey Book Club, Mary Kay Letourneau. Well, the book is Greg Olson's If Loving You Is Wrong, about Seattle legend Mary Kay Letourneau. But same time, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, and the compensatory call-in Saturday, same time, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. I guess I should mention we did end up having audio uploaded yesterday. That would be Wednesday, July 30. There was a white author suspected racist right here in Seattle at Elliott Bay Book Company, about a stone's throw from my residence. I bet Mary Kay, I should have looked to see what books they got on Mary Kay Letourneau while I was there. Anyway, but they had an author there give a talk, Black Soldiers, White Laws, the Tragedy of the 24th Infantry in 1917 Houston. Ended up getting a free signed copy of the book, was able to ask questions, and hopefully we'll have the author, Mr. John A. Hammond, as a guest on the broadcast later this summer. But I was able to upload the lecture that he gave here in Seattle. You hear the questions that Gus T. got to ask, and this incident that he spoke about should be familiar to at least some COWS listeners, because we talked about the 1917 racial mutiny, so-called, in Houston at just right around World War I. We talked about this episode previously with white author who wrote about this whole episode, Jamie Salazar. So check that out in the archives if you were not aware. Got uploaded later in the evening. The talk was later in the evening on Wednesday, so after that was done and all that, took a little time to get it uploaded. But he had lots of counter-violence. Saying, and even, hey, going into the military, that is a career. This for sure would be one you would want to research if you are a black person and contemplating a armed service career. That said, Dr. Kamal Kamban, he, years ago, when he, first time he came as a guest on the broadcast, he said, if you go out, you go to the post office, you go to, grocery store, any place else, airport, and you get quality service from someone who is classified as black, write a letter. And he said, you should write it. He advocated handwritten, go real old school, handwrite that letter and mail it to the owner of that establishment. Mail it to the owner and let them know that day, Roscoe, Miss Williamson, whoever that black person was, gave you excellent service. Try to be as detailed about it as you possibly can, that they were really competent, super courteous, and went above and beyond. They spent how much time or whatever it is that they did, but they really made sure you were satisfied. To write that letter, because he says so many black people, they get unjustly fired. We don't get those promotions. They give us all kinds of goofy reasons not to give us promotions or a bonus or a raise. Hey, put that letter, he said, that letter could be the difference between a black person getting fired. They could, Willie, get in here. Man, you've been coming in late, sleeping on the job. White women say you've been looking at them, and we know. They go through the phone and say, oh, look, dang, we got that one letter. They said that day, April 5th, that you were super helpful and spent 15 minutes talking to make sure that they got their order complete, and wow, that they had never received service like that before, and I guess we'll give you 30 more days, but just 30 days. You better get your act together the next 30. He said it could be the difference in a black person getting fired, or at least they get an extra 6 months of work, just at least having one bit of documentation that said, no, this is not no shiftless, no count black person. This is a hardworking employee who should be valued. I've tried to remind folks and share that suggestion from Dr. Kamban over the years, and I employ it myself. For years, I try to do this. If a black person, any capacity, certainly I don't, every single time I don't get to do this. System of white supremacy, a lot of times you're moving and all that, but on a regular basis, this is something that I try to employ. The grocery store that I love shop at frequently, 2 or 3 times a week, they have, I was trying to think of that. I guess they have a few non-white employees who work there. They used to have more before COVID-19, and I have talked to a number of the non-white employees there about racism. When I say a number, like more than 2 that I've talked with about racism. One such employee, black female, we spoke weeks before, and she knows I am an Epicurean, all about, hey, let's get in the kitchen, make something yummy and healthy. And so they have vegan carrot cake. And so she said the carrot cake is awful. We have a white baker, and he does not listen. Heard that before. Suspected racist. And he thinks he knows so much. I was even thinking he might have lied about his credentials and told them that he went to all these fancy culinary schools and all the rest of it, and he didn't do nothing. Can't even spell culinary. But anyway, she said he doesn't listen. I've been trying to tell him, like, the vegan carrot cake is awful. It's repugnant. It's repulsive. Ugh. And so she said, come over here. Look at this. Look at this. You cook all the time. I'm sure you could do, carrot cake. Now, I was never a big fan of carrot cake, like the vegan, whatever. not my thing. She said, try it. Just, it's gross. Like, tell me what's wrong with it. What needs to be improved about it? So I said, okay. I tried. Now, it was not very good. Like, it was really dry. Like, long list of, like, she had told me it was not very good. So this was just itemizing, confirming, yes, it's not very good. And this is, specific things that need to be changed to improve the cake. And so the next time I see her, I write out all the things that I think are wrong with the cake and what needs to be done to improve it. Now, I was not doing this with the thought process that she was going to take this and go see if she could improve the cake. I was just, she asked me about it, knew I was vegan. So I tell her that. She goes back, they changed the cake. And they took most of what I said and changed the flipping cake. Way better. Like, wow. Night and day. I was absolutely stunned. And so I came back and I told her this. I was like, I can't believe it. Like, they put nuts, they didn't just put nuts, because carrot cake is supposed to have nuts. Who in the hell makes carrot cake with no nuts? I don't even eat carrot cake and I know it's supposed to have nuts in it. Jesus Christ. Anyway, that's why I said, who did this? Oh, you said the white person who probably lied about his cooking credentials. Anyway, baking credentials, if you want to be specific. Anyway, so I said, where are the nuts at? They put nuts in it, and they put pecans in it. They normally, I think carrot cake, they normally put walnuts in it. Like I said, I'm not a carrot cake expert, but I think they normally do walnuts in carrot cake. They put pecans. I love pecans. Not to get too simple, but anyway. So they put the nuts in it and all the things. It was really dry, and they made it moist and added more carrots to it. It's supposed to be called carrot cake for a reason. Anyway, so I came back in and told her, and she said, oh man, you should put it in the comment box that, the cake was better. So, no problem. So I went, wrote it up in the comment box that customer, because that's what I said, that is the essence of customer service. You put out your product, you ask the customers who shop here, and I'm a member at this co-op. You ask the members, customers, hey, how are we doing? And they give input. She specifically did not get upset and angry. And what do you mean the cake is dry and lame? And we forgot the nuts, because it is dry and lame. But she knew that. She was seeking out feedback to make improvements, and then she incorporated exactly what I said and made it phenomenally better. And that's pretty much what I wrote in the comment, and that she should get a monstrous raise, and that right there is the essence of customer service. Checking in with the customers, and then you listen to what they have to say. And so I put that on the comment, put it in the comment box, kept it moving. And again, hopefully she gets a obese raise. Anyway, so I go back to the store. I think I wrote this like, let's say beginning of July, let's say. So I go back to the store this week, and one of the white workers who's there, who I recognize, like I've shopped at this store for years. So one of the white workers who's there, who I recognize, he says, oh man, Gus, did you put a comment in the box for one of the black females who works in the bakery section? I said, oh yeah, I did. She talked to me about the vegan carrot cake. She said, oh my goodness, she was so amazed, and she almost cried. She asked if she could take it and put it up on her refrigerator, and I was like, I don't know if it's, I really want to say, like, did she get that raise? Like, that was included on there. And so he said, yeah, that was great. Like, she really appreciated it. So I was like, okay, whatever, blah, blah. So then I saw her, like, a couple days later. And so she was so thankful, and I was like, whatever. Back to what I said, did you get that raise? And she said, the white people at the store, they were so stunned, they did not know how to respond, which I thought, like, customer service, that's what you all talk about. Yes, that's what many businesses, especially like a grocery outlet, customer service. What's difficult to understand? She asked, what do you think about this product? I gave my honest feedback. She incorporated my honest feedback and made an improvement. What's difficult to understand? Is it shocking because the rest of the employees don't do this? Anyway, the main thing, did she get that raise? I guess that'd be great if the rest of the workers do that, maybe, especially for members and co-op folks who shop there on a regular basis. Hey, what do you think about this? How was your experience? Can we do anything better? And then see if you can incorporate all of that. But yes, try to look out for black workers. That might be the difference in them getting a raise, them getting a promotion. Even if we go, them not getting fired as quickly might be all the difference in the world. So I think Dr. Kamal Kambon, again, that was his suggestion from many, many years ago. And he said he put that in practice, not just something that he talks about. And I try to carry on that legacy, do the same thing. So if you get quality service from a black person, any sort of job, capacity, what have you, if you can take, sometimes it can be as little as 5 minutes, fill out that form, write letter, email, whatever it is, especially something where they have like a website where you can go and leave comments. Do it. Mention them by name if you can. Most of these folks, they'll have a name tag, or you can just ask them, what's your name? Oh, okay, Lakeisha, spelling out, boom, boom, boom. Okay. And send it in. Man, even at minimum, with the way that non-white people are terrorized and abused and such, especially in the workplace, if at minimum you can have a non-white person feel a little bit better about their work and feel that they are valued for all of the hard work and racism that they have to endure on the job, if that even gives a little 5 minutes, 30 seconds of mental comfort to a victim of racism, we will take that. Hopefully, maybe it gets a few people a raise, keeps them from getting fired, maybe a promotion too. Anyway, *61, we'll give folks maybe 3 minutes, see if they have any other comments, observations to share in the workplace. Definitely, if you got a raise, always let us know so we can celebrate that. Number again, 720-716-7300. The code 564-943 pound. Press *61 if you would like to participate. The email untiljustice@gmail.com. untiljustice@gmail.com. Let's see if other folks. Always for the folks, if they are spectating, no spectators for Neutralizing Workplace Racism. Really, counter-racism is not a spectator activity, but if you are spectating, hopefully that means you are not being terrorized in the workplace, at least at this very moment. If things are well, you are not concerned about any sort of DEI purge. You are not a federal employee. You don't think your funding is going to be snatched. You don't think the bots are coming for your job. Doesn't seem like the white and or non-white people around you are tired of you and looking to get you thrown out of the building today or this week. Grand. Hopefully it will remain that way until you are ready to retire 50 years from now, whenever you are ready to call it a career. But if that is the case and you get all your nickels, you are compensated correctly, make sure invest in the C.O.W.S. racism-notes.blogspot.com. racism-notes.blogspot.com. Listener supported counter-racist radio. PayPal button in the top right corner. Beneath the PayPal button, you'll see the links for Cash App, Venmo, and PayPal. Enormous gratitude to all of the investors who have kept the cows on for 16 years plus. Hopefully we have been worthy of your time and energy. And really, I don't see lots of programs. If I have missed, please share. That's something I've asked for years. If you see websites, programs, constructive content that would be beneficial to people classified as black, non-white people dealing with the workplace and how to neutralize racism, or just constructive information related to labor, please share with Gus T and I will pass along. But because I don't see a lot of resources for victims of racism to help us address labor and problems in labor and white supremacy in labor, hopefully neutralizing workplace racism and the C.O.W.S. in general has been beneficial in that area of activity at minimum, and not just wasting time every Thursday evening. Share if you think it is constructive. Let's see, other folks who dialed in, our caller at the courthouse in Florida. Now see, I suspect it is not
78 degrees. At least that was not the daytime high in Florida. Even he's in North Florida, and I bet it was not no 78 degrees for the daytime high. Stay hydrated and drink lots of water. Our caller at the courthouse should be with us. Can we get a temperature check if it's not asking too much? If you don't know, don't even worry about it. You can just get to your notes. But do you know what the daytime high was in North Florida today?
Yes, sir. It was in the mid 90s, triple digits almost.
You keep all that, sir. Drink up. More water, more water. Proceed.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Greetings to Gus, the host, the listeners and callers. Gus, I had some reports I'd like to share with you and everyone else. I thought about when I shared the I don't know who brought this food in, because they love to do the food thing at the courthouse, the luncheons, about when they had the brain thing that reminded me of Jeffrey Dahmer. Someone made something called the black lasagna. I don't know if I shared that, or chocolate lasagna, and a coworker that's a black person, two black people thought that it was racism with whoever brought this in. I think it's a white person who did it, but they wrote down something of what they were going to bring. But yeah, they said they thought that was racism about the chocolate lasagna, and I did see a sign that said picnic party. And they had these black insects and ants on the table for their little summer sizzle kind of decorations and everything like that. There was some customers that have been coming by too. Like, there was a black male who last week made a comment toward having working at the courthouse. He said, "Man, I used to work there, and you should just stay prayed up because they gave us hell." That's the comment he made. They gave us hell. I suspect race soldiers, I guess. I'm thinking who he was talking about. And he came in again today, a black male, and said, "Man, like, why we almost got to get buck naked to come through security?" And I guess he's talking about the sheriffs out front. And he said he may have to put in a report to Chad. Chad is the black sheriff. And speaking of the sheriff, the black sheriff in the county before Chad Scott, okay, the black male sheriff and the attorneys wanted to appeal this $15 million of a literal race soldier. And I see him at least like 3-4 times a week. He's a sergeant. $15 million, he said he was being discriminated against being a white officer. So I just find that it's not true. I think that's racism. So I guess he's some way gonna get that money, I guess. And like I mentioned before, that jury, I think they said all of that was white people that was in that trial. And to share another report, there was a black female that came in today actually and was upset about something occurring in her family case, custody, kind of like sensitive cases, family cases about children and whatnot. And she used the term discrimination, okay, racism, even with the names of the people in court, white people, and it's white folks in the room, co-workers. So she was like, white people make me sick. They're nasty, all of them. And then she said, well, it's sometimes I try to help me out or something. And then I thought about, is she trying to say not all white people are racist? So I just let her just talk. So and the white coworkers and stuff, they ain't really saying anything. So she just continued looking at her case, and then she finished looking at the case. And I just said, just make sure you just keep a record of the things being filed on the case. All right. And she, I think, calmed down, a little more. I think it was constructive. And I just didn't really give too many responses. I just kept focused on what she was looking for in the case, on the case docket, because I have a secondary monitor that I utilize for the customer. So, she was making these kind of comments and bringing up race and how she's being treated by, attorneys and everything like that. And I say, we can't really give legal advice and everything, but I wanted to bring this up because, a lot of the times, and even regardless of how the black people come into the office, it's either the co-workers that I work with, white, non-white, they have a tendency to show contempt, of course, for black people, anti-blackness, and practicing racism. So I find it to be constructive to get better at how I communicate with oncoming black customers. And it reminded me of, things like compliments, and they are appreciative of how I treat them and things like that. And just one last thing, unfortunately, there was a black employee in the traffic area. She called in this past weekend and was like, hey, I quit or whatever, And I think this was due to someone I think is classified as a white person going over to administration and HR and being very, I don't know, maybe like meticulous or whatever, keep taking these notes with these yellow sticky pads. And I think she targeted the black person. And she's a young black female. And she just called in and said that she was going to quit. And then I hadn't really heard anything else. And she was the only black person in the traffic area. So I'm going to be trying to find out updates about, what happened with that situation. And other than that, Gus, that's all I have to share. Thanks for allowing me to speak.
Much obliged, our caller at the courthouse in Florida. I'm remembering a retired firefighter who's also down there, probably with even worse heat because he's further south. But he just told us, he said, man, they got he said they were white, but they speak Spanish in South Florida who were saying we're victims of racism, and you got these old no-count niggers in the police department, and they're messing our scheduling over, and they keep moving us around, and they don't like us, and they're mistreating us because we're so-called Hispanic, classified as white. But he just said it, and I said, man, you get those white people, and they put those suits out there and say, you all are mistreating me. You're trying to beat up on an old white man, beat up on an old white woman. You don't want to see white man get over. You just want to give a job or promotion or whatever it is to all these old dark people. You're messing me over on the workplace. Man, they win. Boy, they get all kinds of money. So whoever this officer is, he said, I think it was Sheriff Chaz or Chad or whatever it is, whatever his name is, this white fella out there who said, man, they are practicing racism on me. Ooh-wee. They are messing me over. It's discrimination. You don't like whitey. He is about to win. He is about to have a really good Christmas. Like, we should all go over their house when it comes December, because they are about to come up. We can just watch the news, or I can get the news report. We'll just watch the news and see how it plays out and everything. But I'm sure he is about to be very successful. Look out for the same thing. If they got a nursery in North Florida, he should have plenty of coins. Albino Monstera. Then I'll have 4 of them, and I'll show. That'll be the same type of experiment. So I have my albino Monstera, my albino African milk tree, and I can see how they grow in comparison to the regular melanated versions of these plants. But they are very, see that even the albino plants are super expensive. Like, you get one of them albino Monsteras, oh my God, they are, even the tiny ones. Like, when I say tiny, like for plants, like you get like 6-inch albino Monstera, it might cost you $100, maybe even more. Whew. Let's see. So he said, I never even heard. I told you what I say today. Epicurean, that's Gus T. I know something about a dessert or two, especially from my tubby days. Boy, I know something about a dessert. Tiramisu, and I made vegan tiramisu from scratch. That rhubarb upside down cake was amazing. Blueberry coffee cake from scratch. I know something about a dessert. I ain't never heard of no chocolate. Oh, yeah, chocolate lasagna, black lasagna. That's what it is. That's good. I don't even know the name of it. Black lasagna. What? What is that? Black lasagna. I never even heard of it. I had to go and pull a thing up because, like, what? So the Negro lasagna, no bake, chocolate lasagna, super easy to make. Basically an Oreo cookie crust layered with cream cheese, chocolate pudding, Cool Whip topping, and mini chocolate chips. Welsing moment. Now they brought this. Now we talked about this for years. I'm not a chocolate fiend, right? So I don't wig. I'm not one of those people that, oh my Lord, they got chocolate. I start knocking people out the way in the hallway like I'm playing football, and I got to dive over the table. That is not, Regardless, whatever they had baked, we're not supposed to be little Pavlov's dogs in the workplace. Like, oh, you got picnic? Come on. Presumably you have a job. I have no idea who put the Negro lasagna there, much less what's in it and all the rest of it. I'm good. We just got through COVID, right? All that battling and vaccines and everything. I'm good. Mess around and find out that's not pudding. That's laxative. Which has happened in the workplace. So they bring in the Negro lasagna. He says that the black people, they look, and plus they got the advertisements for all this. They say this is the pleasant picnic, see, and they got the Negro ants on the sign for the picnic. I said, Now he said some of the black coworkers, I guess they looked at that, and then they looked at the Negro lasagna, and they said, black lasagna? I think that's racist. Now, I know that's not you, because it wasn't our victim at the courthouse. He didn't say that I looked at the Negro lasagna, that, there they go, they're being racist. He said that was the other people's assessment. If maybe we got some folks, this is their first time, they say, you got to be kidding. You all are the biggest nuts and wackos in the world. It's lasagna. Or they got the recipe, you just read it, so this does exist. He's not making this up. They just said maybe they like chocolate. Lots of people like chocolate. How is it racist black lasagna. It's chocolate. What would you say to somebody who, that's the type of question that they ask?
I would say that I'll just have to think about it. I'll just have to think about it.
Always appreciate the thinking. The Dr. Welsing section where she talks about white people's obsession with chocolate. Lean over to my ISIS papers. There it is, right there. Okay. That would be when I'm telling them, just give a glance at that one. Maybe old Jeff Dahmer worked at chocolate factory. So you got the brain fascination and all that. I guess there's a whole lot of stuff I'd be like, do what? They got the brain? Do what? Do what? No, that. In fact, that would have just been the reminder. Like, I'm not eating any of this. Thank you. That's the only reminder I needed. Woof! Brought my water and my snacks. I am good. Keep it moving. Let's see. He said the black fella, he came into the courthouse and he said, I guess I used to work there in some capacity. And he said, oh, my Lord, they used to give us hell. You mean the warden? Dang. Like, I don't even know what to say about that. To have somebody who used to work in a place and they don't just come in and, oh, man, I used to work over there. And, wow, it looks about the same. Or, wow, they really changed things up. Like, they, rebuilt this and got that all polished up. And, wow, they got air conditioning in here now. It feels all good. Like, no. Woof. We used to catch hell up in here. Woof, you better stay prayed up. That's the second time we heard that. He said that the black people that can't get no jobs in Chicago, the black seniors, like, we about to be homeless and about to eat cat food. What we going to do? Better pray. We got to go down and work at the courthouse. The warden, woof, they got it out for us, especially black males. Because, matter of fact, he's one of the rare ones because they don't even hire black males at the courthouse. So it's like, whoa, where did you even come from? When did you work here? How long? What in the world? How'd you even get hired? Ugh. Anyway, we'll stay prayed up. And say, dang, we almost had to get buck naked to get into the courthouse. Now, really, how many white people got to get strip searched to get into the courthouse? He had told us before, he said there was a tall black male. They almost shot him when he came into the courthouse. He had put his hands up and behave himself. But you got to strip, get buck naked to get into the like, man, it sound kind of delectable Negro, and like literally because that is a part of delectable Negro, and talking about you don't even have the ability to have clothes. That's a part of the punishment. Frequently is we got to strip you. You don't even have the human dignity and autonomy to decide, maybe I'd like to keep my britches on. Maybe I'd like to keep my shirt on, male or female. No, you don't. You're going to strip right now. Butt naked. Apparently to get into the courthouse, too. Still catching hell. It gets so homoerotic right there because that happened so free. They had the black fella before said, I'm not going to suck no penis, so you don't take me in. That was the same type of thing. Maybe they were trying to get him butt naked, too, to get through. Man, woof, just to get into the courthouse? You have to tell us next time that you... Oh, yeah, let's hear it.
And speaking of that, things of that nature, he made a comment, the black male, about something about he said, yeah, because if I have to keep coming in here and they want me to get butt naked, people are gonna get scared if my pants drop. He made that comment.
Lord, don't say that, Leroy. Don't say that. Like, man, like, you better play that back for him. Get the video footage from that black fella previously. I'm not going to suck no penis just so that you keep me out of greater confinement. Man, do not come in here talking about no bragging on your penis or nothing else. Just be quiet. Hopefully you can get through it without
being nigger knocked, strip searched, or whatever the case may be, get whatever information you need, and can get out safely. But man, that's another one I would just chalk up to even say something like that. We do not understand racism, white supremacy, and we just do not have proper counter-racist training, I would say, of what to do to deal with white people, what to do in the system of racism, white supremacy, because that is, I do not see how a statement like that is going to improve your situation at all, ever. Maybe get you castrated. Maybe someone interprets that as you want to go and rape all the white women here. I don't know, but I don't see any scenario out of 1,000 where after you say that, woo, things are going to work out better for you, Leroy. Please. Get you and all the black males in here might get castrated after you done said something like that. Like, Jesus Christ, man. Let's see. He said the black female came through and was talking, and she said that she was experiencing discrimination and racism, and words she was used, that's how she phrased it. He said the white people were there, they could hear all of this, and then somehow it got worked in. She said, now, I guess it has been a few white people that's been helpful and try to do right by me. I thought the exact same thing. Not all white people are racist. Obligatory. I don't even know what that had to do. Like, I'm still trying to get back to what is the acute racism specifically that's happening now. Like, we'll get to the good white people that looked out for you. We get to them later for sure. But what exactly is it going on that she's going, to talk about all of this? And that might even be another one that I would say the same thing. Like, I mean, she is kind of lucky that she got in line for you. I think she was in your line to go and get help from you. Like, oh man, if she had messed around and got in line with one of them white people, that could have been the same. Security, what did it? Panic button, boop, 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 boop. You didn't got riled up, and ma'am, you have to calm down. You can't get up here and get all right. We don't deal all that now. She just kind of got a little bit lucky. So he just said that you come up there, when black people come up there, it's contempt and all that anyway. You come to get your passport photo, and it's like a mugshot for you and your child. Much less you're going to come here talking about racism and discrimination. Like, what? Just, again, us not being codified in how to do, even if it is racism, okay, what are we specifically here for? Let's see if we can get this information without being arrested, nigger knocked, stripped naked, like all the rest of it. Let's just get the data that we need so we can get out of here. And we even lucked up because we got a black dude, so maybe he can help us. We can be quiet, get out of here without him getting fired and me getting arrested. Win-win. Nah. Let's see. Anything else before we... Oh, and the anti-blackness. That I have so much respect. Our caller at the courthouse, he said for years, and given us lots of examples as well, where he personally, I'm going to see if I can, part of my counter-racism, see if I can personally not be mistreated, and I'm going to see if I can help these black customers. When they come, to the courthouse, these are Florida citizens, they're trying to get paperwork or whatever, trying to get their passport or whatever. Constructed material, I'm going to do the best job that I can to help them so that they don't have to come up and deal some racist person or some anti-black client to be rude and nasty to them and hit the panic button and all the rest of it. I'm not going to do that. Like that superb illustration of black self-respect and counter-racism in the workplace, in my opinion. And I think he's told us that for a long time, where black people come in, from the time they hit the front entrance, the racism and rudeness, unprofessionalism from the sheriffs or whoever, security, what have you, you have to go through that whole process and getting cleared and everything else. Then you get inside and go to the folks at the teller who are rude, nasty, all the rest of it, even rude to him when he's trying to help people. Like, man, you're already at the courthouse, which can be an intimidating experience for a lot of people, especially if you're not familiar with going up there and dealing with legal matters. And then the clerks and people that are supposed to be there to help you are nasty and rude in the racist in the process. Man, like, kudos to trying to counter all of that, and even pointing out that a number of the black people who work there, they are not always courteous, professional in dealing with the black people who come to the courthouse for documents. So, man, Brian, that again, why Dr. Cambon said you get quality service from a black person. You go courthouse, post office, wherever it is, write a letter of gratitude, even if it's just keeping that black person from being fired a few extra weeks or months. We will take that. Maybe you get them a raise, maybe you don't, but at least get that in their personnel record. On this day, Leroy was great, professional, helpful. He deserves a commendation. Black self-respect. Much obliged, our caller at the courthouse who did not, it seems, eat the Negra lasagna. Might have been missing out on your favorite treat of all time. We will be here tomorrow for the book club, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. Catherine Massey Book Club as we continue with Mary Kay Letourneau, Seattle legend. 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. Sobriety would be best, even at the workplace picnic. Maybe especially at the workplace picnic. You do not want to be under the influence where you cannot think clearly and process. Maybe I don't need to eat that Negra lasagna. Creator, we ask that you remind us to stop saying not all white people are racist. We ask that you remind us to maximize our time and energy replacing white supremacy with justice. Remind us not to waste non-white people's time and energy, especially our own. Stop name-calling people classified as black. Stop gossiping. Stop producing throwaway offspring to be raped by Mary Kay Letourneau. Replace white supremacy with justice immediately. Cow signing out. Thanks all for tuning in.
Nigga, you so brainwashed. I'm a victim, brother. You're a victim. I'm a victim of 400 years of conditioning. Shut up. The man has programmed my conditioning. Even my conditioning has been conditioned.